Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
We begin this morning in Haiti, where U.S.-backed Haitian President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in his home last night, according to a statement released by Haitian Prime Minister. Then we come to the United States, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Darnela Frazier, the young woman who captured the video of the George Floyd murder, has announced in a heart-wrenching social media post that she too now has lost someone to police violence. And then we end this morning in Buffalo, New York, in a disturbing situation where a sitting incumbent mayor refuses to concede to a young black woman who beat him fairly and squarely in the Democratic primary race for mayor. All of that and more. But first, on the clock with Georgia Ford.
Many of you may remember Darnela Frazier for her compelling testimony during the George Floyd trial. And if you didn't tune in for that, you definitely saw the footage that she captured when George Floyd took his last breath. It reverberated around the world and is really what is responsible for the global response to George Floyd's murder. Darnela Frazier at the time was just a 17-year-old girl who was taking her 9-year-old cousin to the corner store when she saw Derek Chauvin with his knee on George Floyd's neck. And she had the wherewithal, some even calling her a citizen journalist, stopping and pulling out her phone and recording a video. It was 8 minutes and 46 seconds. During the trial, we learned that that incident actually took place for even longer, 9 minutes and 29 seconds, in fact. But it was the 8 minutes and 46 seconds she captured on her cell phone that made the world come out and stand up for George Floyd's humanity. And now that 17-year-old girl, she's a little bit older, but here in Minneapolis, we've learned that a high-speed chase by the Minneapolis Police Department, they were pursuing a robbery suspect, ended up crashing into an innocent bystander who happened to be her uncle. And so here she is, plagued with yet another loss, another traumatic incident at the hands of the Minneapolis Police Department. Ben, and I'm not sure if Carl Mack is here with us now, but I wanted to center this at the top of the day because, you know, what we're seeing in Minneapolis here, the epicenter of this global movement following the death of George Floyd, what we're seeing here, even this incident taking place on the 5th anniversary of Philando Castile being killed by police here in Minnesota. And so this issue, as much as we try to turn the other cheek and say, you know, maybe 2 or 3 bills that were passed on a state level is sufficient, we're continuing to see this issue of police negligence and lack of accountability come to the forefront, and not just in Minnesota. This is something that's happening across the nation.
You know, this is the degrees of separation of trauma in this country is entirely too close now. For this young woman to have captured one of the most traumatic experiences that we collectively as Americans have experienced in having to watch those minutes, those 8 minutes, and then for her to turn around and then to suffer at the hands of this tragedy that is the result of yet police violence. Because as she stated in her post, why would they be doing this chase through a residential neighborhood? And it's just so traumatic being black in this country. It is so traumatic being black on this planet. But for this young sister to suffer this, and it's just too much at this point. And, you know, we're definitely sending our thoughts and prayers and condolences to her and her family, and strength and light her way.
You know, and the other thing it makes me think about, Ben, do you recall Katanga Wright? She was the civil rights attorney that we had on a few weeks ago. And here she is 5 years later after Coach Pollard, the baseball coach in Georgia, was killed as an innocent bystander in a high-speed pursuit. She's been trying to pursue justice against the police department in Columbus, Georgia, for a similar situation. And so the question at hand here is, when you are pursuing a suspect, at what time do you set aside the common safety of innocent bystanders in pursuit of one criminal? And in the case of the baseball coach, David Pollard, he was on his way. He had just left school. They had a baseball game that afternoon. He was going out to get chalk for the field. And he ends up getting struck by the vehicle that police were pursuing. And in that instance, that was an individual who had just stolen a vehicle. And so here in that case, you're talking about a used vehicle that's only worth just a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And you're putting someone's life at risk. And so here in the case with Darnela Frazier, this is a woman who has endured gross trauma. Now having to relive that, you know, and seeing the harm that was perpetuated against George Floyd by a Minneapolis Police Department officer, and now MPD is responsible for claiming the life of her uncle. And for what? In pursuit of someone who robbed a few businesses. And I'm not trying to minimize the crime here at all. What I'm trying to do is value the life. And so why is it that our local police departments are continuously disregarding our lives? Continuously disregarding our lives. So now here we have another family who is grieving, and they're going to be seeking justice from the Minneapolis Police Department. You know, at some point, we really have to look at, it's not just about police accountability. There has to be some serious changes with the way that these officers are trained in to make decisions. Because if your first mind is to get the criminal and forget everybody else, we are living in a very, very dangerous society.
Very, you know, and I think that's the crux of it. Georgia, I think that we need to understand that this country is violent, and violence begets violence. And the violence that we have externally is the violence that we're seeing internally. And I'm not trying to wax poetically or anything. Like, it's just a matter of fact. What we see America doing on the global stage is what we see reflected domestically. And we have a level of violence here that I think we become desensitized to. I mean, we spoke yesterday about the 150 lives that were taken over the weekend, over the 4th of July weekend, and we become numb to it. And I don't say that to insult us who have had to cope and compartmentalize. I say that because when you look at the trauma that America lays at the feet of Black people in this country, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm thinking of Sister Darnela Frazier particularly.
Absolutely. You mentioned the 150 fatalities over the weekend. I want to bring in our guest, Dr. J, who's here with us to speak about gun violence this morning. Before we pivot, I want to zero in on this issue. It's easy to look at the large numbers and kind of disregard them, right? But when you understand the people who are behind those numbers, there was a 6-year-old girl. Her name is Anaya Allen. She was shot in the head while she was sitting in the back of a vehicle eating McDonald's. Take a listen to what her grandfather had to say as he continues to call out the person responsible for her murder.
I got a whole new fight now, and I'm not going to stop. And it may cost me my life. It may cost me my life, and I'm ready for that. I'm prepared for that, and I told my family, but they know me, you know. And so I'm on the front line. I am there. I'm not going to stop until I drop or they take me, trying to. If they watch it, because I think anything I say or do now, those who shot the 3 children are watching. And I'm going to say to them again, turn yourself in. Make it right with God, the community, and our families, these 3 families. Turn yourself in.
That is peace activist KG Wilson. And you heard him there not only talk about his 6-year-old granddaughter, but you also heard him talk about 2 other children. Trinity, who was 9-year-old, who was shot in the head and also died from her injuries. And then LaDavion, who is still fighting for his life. Those are just 3 children, right? And then over the weekend, 150 fatalities across the country, 400 shootings. Dr. J, this feels like a very complex issue because it's not just about, gun restrictions, putting those in place to prevent this from happening. It's also about attacking the root of gun violence, which a lot of people attribute to poverty and lack of resources. Do you have any ideas that can help us start to understand what types of preventative measures can we put in place to mitigate this level of violence from continuing to occur across the country?
Yes, thank you. There's a lot that we can do, and I'm glad that you mentioned the root causes because that's where we need to look. Some of the interventions that are getting the most attention now involve having community members, people who are credible messengers in the places most impacted by gun violence, be involved in reaching out to the people who are most at risk of being themselves impacted by violence, either because they have been injured or we know they're involved in ongoing disputes, and making sure that they get access to the services they need, access to jobs and other opportunities, to counseling, because trauma is so deeply involved in the processes that produce violence. And also, sometimes those individuals can intervene to resolve disputes or at least sort of cool things down as things heat up.
And then in this case, we're seeing, at least for these 3 children specifically, where the murder suspect is still on the loose. We've talked a lot about the no snitching culture and how that can play a role in people refusing to turn individuals in. Is there anything that you can say to speak to the dire need that our community has for people who know something and someone knows something? Someone knows something about these 3 children. Someone knows something about those other 150 fatalities in the cases where the murder suspect is still on the loose. Is there anything that you can say to speak to that aspect of either the investigation or just the need for people to stop being complicit and speak up when they know something?
Well, I think, as you say, this is quite a complex issue. And as you were saying earlier, there's a lot of reasons that we need to think deeply about the role of policing in community safety. So one argument in this space is if police departments were less involved in some of the activities that you described earlier, the proactive sort of making contact with people on the street, which we know disproportionately affects youth of color, especially Black youth, has mental and physical health effects, that police could be then more focused on investigating incidents of violence, and that it might contribute to better community trust. But that is a very complicated issue, and it's something that I think it's not fair just to put on impacted community members to improve trust and relations with police departments. It needs to go both ways.
Absolutely. And Ben, I want to invite you to ask Dr. J a question. I know we've talked about the complexities of this issue. Really quick, first, Dr. J, you're leading on this issue. You're an expert in this area. What are the things that we should be thinking about when we are talking about this subject and approaching the subject?
Well, one thing that we see with the mainstream media is a really high level of attention to what are sometimes called mass shootings in public spaces, so that some of the audiences that I talk to have this vision in mind of gun violence, which involves a young white man in his 20s or 30s going into a space and trying to kill strangers. But that represents a very tiny sliver of this gun violence problem in America, the vast majority of which affects communities of color, especially Black communities, and is driven by structural racism. So the concentrated disadvantage that we map onto race and ethnicity in the US. And what my lab has found in our research is that in addition to the pre-existing disparities across race and ethnicity, disproportionately affecting Black and Hispanic youth in their exposure to gun violence, those disparities have only gotten worse during the pandemic. So this is an urgent issue. It's a racial justice issue, and reinvesting in communities that have been disinvested from over many years is how we start to address those root causes.
You know, I think this is, I think we have an opportunity to expose something here, because the general sentiment in the discourse, at least from our establishment, is that, you know, the police, that they are who keep us safe. But if we look at the over-policing in our inner communities and look at the type of violence that exists in our inner communities, something's not right there in terms like if that was true, then Black communities should be the safest because we're the most over-policed. Could you speak to that?
I agree with you, and there's not much evidence that policing as it's traditionally practiced, or even some of the sort of newer strategies that police departments employ, that is particularly effective in preventing the most serious forms of violence. So I think this is a moment when we need to very seriously think about all of the alternatives that we have, particularly ones that don't impose additional traumas on communities, but in fact have the opposite effect of starting to heal and support the resilience of communities that already have had to be very resilient, more resilient than they should need to be because of the way that we've disinvested from them.
And in that disinvestment, the conversation with some of our friends like Jim Clyburn, and not to pull you into any of the politics of it, but just in the logic of it. Underneath it, they're saying that it's absurd to consider defunding the police. But as I hear you saying, our communities have been defunded. The resources in our communities have been defunded. And it's because of the lack of resources in our communities that we see this type of violence as compared to the amount of money we are spending on policing agencies across this country.
It's absolutely critical, no matter what, that we increase funding to the kinds of social services that people need, to education, healthcare, local community nonprofits. I mean, there's groups in every community affected by violence that are already working on this, have been working on it for many years, and could do much more with more resources. So I think that's the way that I look at the funding side of this. In addition to the physical infrastructure, I mean, we know that there is a specific, this is the focus of my research, there's a specific association between physically disordered, disinvested, physical urban environments and gun violence. So a vacant lot that becomes overgrown with weeds and doesn't feel safe to walk past, or an abandoned building, those places contribute to violence above and beyond the local levels of poverty and all the other factors. So addressing those kinds of factors we need to think about those kinds of investments as well.
Absolutely. Dr. J, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Ben, I know that you had some breaking news that just came in. If we can take a moment here to pivot to that.
Yes. And again, Dr. J, thank you, because I think one thing that I want us to consider in this conversation about gun violence is the fact that we see this not only domestically, we see it globally. And I'm just looking at the situation out of Haiti. And we're going to be talking about that extensively coming up in the second hour. But the situation in Haiti where the president, Jovenel Moïse, was assassinated last night in his home, according to a statement released by the Haitian prime minister. There is video footage of what they believe to be the assailants, and we will be getting that video and making sure that obviously that there's nothing graphic in it, and we'll be sharing that with you throughout the day. We're also going to be speaking obviously with Rebecca Azor. She has been covering the unrest in Haiti for some time, the protests, the massive protests that have been taking place in light of President Moïse refusing to concede power there in Haiti. So we're going to be covering this extensively throughout this morning. And it's just, Georgia, it's just a really violent time for Black people all across the globe. And I directly see it tied to the violence that we see at home.
You know, it's interesting that you made that connection and drew out those parallels, because I see them also specifically in the protesting. Because really, at the essence, when you go out and you're boots on the ground, you're interviewing protesters, whether it's here, Haiti, or anywhere else across the world, the common denominator is usually liberation. People are fighting for their own liberation. People are standing up and saying that they feel oppressed. And I mean, it was so interesting because simultaneously, while there were a lot of protests continuing to happen in Minneapolis for George Floyd, the Oromo community, which I was not really tapped into here in Minneapolis, they were taking to the highway with their flags, and they were protesting and standing in solidarity with what was happening in their home country. And so we're seeing this all across the world, people standing up against oppression. And so the larger question then is about the government agencies that are in place, people speaking out in the ways in which they feel their government agency is controlling them or limiting their freedom, or just oppressing them altogether. And I know that you followed the situation in Haiti more often. Is that also true for what's happening there as well?
You know what is fascinating, pardon me, about this story. One of the details that I know that we're going to go into is that the assassins announced themselves as DEA. The Department of Enforcement, now it escapes me exactly what it stands for, but the U.S. Department, the Drug Enforcement Agency, thank you. And in that, it gives the impression that this was a U.S.-backed assassination. But the irony of it is that Moïse was backed by the United States. And this was the point of contention that Sister Rebecca Azor, she's been pointing out that for some time in our coverage here, because it is America's influence there that is problematic to begin with. And so a lot of the unrest that we see not only in Haiti, but across the globe is quite literally because of the U.S. position in that nation. And oftentimes those local governments, for whatever reason, plenty of reasons that we can outline in an entire episode about the connection between seated power in a local government and imperial power. I mean, there are volumes of books that are written about this, but absolutely the case. The people of Haiti, they've been protesting Jovenel Moïse for some time now. And so I think that conversation is going to be, we're going to dig into it a lot more when Sister Azor gets on. But it is definitely reflective of American foreign policy and intervention, and not from the way the video tried to describe, though. And I think that's the interesting thing. As the assassins announced themselves to be the Drug Enforcement Agency, everyone rejects that notion pretty roundly, if for no other reason than Moïse was a U.S.-backed president.
Well, I really look forward to hearing more from Rebecca Azor. Benjamin Dixon, thank you so much. For those of you watching, you know that these issues are very critical, not just city by city, but across the nation. And now we're seeing even the interconnectedness across the world. So we could go deeper, but we are on the clock this morning. So make sure you guys stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Make sure that you stay tuned. We got more coming up on the Benjamin Dixon Show. Like it or not, it's starting up soon as well, too, y'all. Good morning, everyone. Make sure that you're coming in, get your coffee, your tea, your drink, whatever it is you need to get your morning started, y'all. Benjamin Dixon Show, like it or not, on the clock with Georgia Ford, y'all. It's going down. Good morning. I know why. You hear it? There you go. My apologies, y'all. I forgot I have to press a certain button every morning in this system to make sure my music streams through. So apologies, y'all. You heard me breathing for a second, but it's okay. Good morning again, everybody. Shout out to Esther, Seven Sweetheart, Mara, Shay T, Anna, Brother Tyler. Good morning, y'all. Chuck Diesel, brother. Good morning. On and on. Good morning, Melanie. Truth the Dragon. Good morning, y'all. And make sure that y'all hit that like button wherever you're streaming from. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're streaming from, man. Make sure that you hit that like button, y'all. I appreciate it, man. Shay T, I appreciate you. Good morning, Brother Tiger.
You brought this on us, and you don't know how deep it cuts. No, you don't know how much.
Laura, good morning. Mark S, Moon Meat, Susan. Good morning, y'all. Of course, Tiger. Sounds about right. Make sure you send us that story, okay? Adaku NH, good morning. I hope I said your name right. Please forgive me if I didn't, okay? Anna Hart, if I didn't say good morning, sister. Tiff, good morning. Sunny Wright, good morning.
And every evening, and maybe we can't get any higher. But if you like to take a ride,
Sophia Williams, good morning. Shoot the Dragon, I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. You know it wouldn't solve anything anyway. Nicholas Rodriguez, shout out to everybody in Florida, y'all. I hope y'all are staying safe. Hurricane party I heard going down. Okay, I'm on the way. Alicia, good morning. Barbara, good morning, Barbara. Yeah, it really is.
And maybe we can't get any higher. But if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding. Taking your time and a short
Alert, everyone, alert. Benjamin Dixon said, if y'all not up dancing right now, man, y'all need to be speeding. Y'all just, I don't know what y'all need to do. But y'all need to be moving to this, because when I tell you, this funky as hell. T.H. Tasha, good morning. Six Dragon Daddy, good morning, sir, good morning. That's my brother right there, y'all. Brother from another mother right there. Ill Hustler, good morning. Peter Love Frequency, good morning.
And maybe we
right, Mara. That's what I'm talking about, Mara. Mara say, got my hips going. Hey.
And every evening, ooh, we can't get any higher. But if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding.
You like that, don't you, man?
Bro, James, DJ Exclusive. Who is that?
Man, is this Lakeisha Nugget? I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, actually, Stur Zetterberg featuring Lakeisha Nugent. You set my soul on fire, man. I'm like that jam was pretty fly, man.
That thing moved my spirit, man. Like, listen, if anybody ever want to know why we have music on this show, it's because if it wasn't for music soothing my soul,
hello, somebody.
We would have tore this place down a long time ago.
Music soothes the soul.
I don't know if that rhymes, but it's the truth. Like it or not.
Like it or not. Carl Mack.
Where Carl Mack?
Where's Brother Mack at?
This is return of the Mack.
Return of the Mack. Yes, sir.
Listen, man. We are covering some serious stories across the globe. And
yeah, man.
I know Rebecca is going to join us at 9:00 for Like It or Not. And I know she has full coverage of what's happening in Haiti. It is, no matter what, it is always disturbing when you see a global leader assassinated. When you see a black man assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
But then also the political complexities because of him being a U.S.-backed president, which usually puts him on the opposite side of the bullet. But I digress. I'm sorry. Wait, that's for the other show. That's for the previous Benjamin Dixon show. That's when I would tell you that it's usually the presidents who are not U.S.-backed who get the receiving end of an assassin's bullet.
Yeah.
That's just
which
truth.
Which is this whole thing is really weird. It's fascinating, Brand. It really is, and I'm really, really ready to hear what Rebecca has to say about it, because when I came on this morning when you guys started, that's when I saw the alert too, and I was, what the hell? So I'm really interested to find out more and see what's going on, because it all seems real suspect.
It seems suspect on a whole lot of levels, and I don't think I'm qualified to parse it because I haven't followed it as much as Rebecca has.
Agreed, man. Me too.
And we're gonna table that until she gets here. That said, I do want to cover something that I'm covering very, very, very closely. Good morning, Mayor Byron Brown in Buffalo, New York. We just want to say good morning from black men all across the country. Mayor Byron Brown is the incumbent Democratic mayor in the city of Buffalo, New York, who lost in a primary to a young sister by the name of India Walton. Now, many of you probably already know who Sister Walton is. She is a dynamic firebrand who has risen from the same struggle that black people have dealt with in this country since time immemorial. Like, this sister came up the hard way and she won the primaries. And this Democratic mayor refuses to concede. And not only does he refuse to concede, he's mounting a write-in campaign against, you thought it was going to be a white man that came up on the screen. No.
Right.
It's a black man who is doing this to a young black sister in Buffalo, New York. And he's using the same exact language. Matter of fact, I want us to play this clip and listen to how he describes this sister. It kind of reminds me of a dude from Queens who still can't concede his race that he lost in 2020. Let's take a listen to this clip.
And I can tell you that every time she talks about defunding police, which will make our community less safe, which will make our home values go down, which will make our children less safe. That is more time that people are calling us, showing their support for our candidacy. So I hope she continues.
So what do you have to say about what he said there?
I have never said defund the police, and I'm not sure what it is that he's getting at. What I have said is that our police budget is as high as it's ever been, and crime is still up. And we know that the way to
That's the sister responding. This man has been attacking her this way the entire time. But this next clip, this is the one where he describes this young sister who beat him fair and square, Mayor Brown. He describes her as unqualified. He describes her as a radical socialist. And that is the language that is precisely the language of Donald Trump. Take a listen in.
We are going on to the general election as a candidate for mayor, and what people have been saying is write down Byron Brown. You know, we know the difference between socialism and democracy. We are going to fight for democracy in the city of Buffalo. The voters have said that they don't want an unqualified, inexperienced, radical socialists trying to learn on the job on the backs of the residents of this community. We will not let it happen.
I am a democratic socialist. The first word in that is Democrat.
I love that, sister. Go, yeah. James, come back on the screen with me, man. I just want to talk about it without losing my mind on this one, bro. Can I say something real quick that I just saw in that his speech? I don't know if you saw his background. Did you see the background? I want everybody to look at that. Look at that age demographic there. These are those, and I hate to say it, the old Democratic people, the ones that are, almost on the damn side of the Republicans. That's what that looks like. It's that the older generation, man, we got to step aside and let the young generation start doing this thing. They say she's inexperienced and unqualified. Bro, what have you done for the community? What have you done for your community of all these old folks? I'm sorry to say it like that. Apologies to my senior citizens, and I don't mean it like that. But let's look at it. Look at that demographic on stage right now. But also look at the demographic behind, look at the folks behind him.
Exactly.
Go back
to the left and the right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go back a little bit to where now see you can't see. You see. Oh, look, there's one good white man they're supporting. Look at that. Oh, that's the good white guy. And then they're gonna pan out. And then as they pan out, you see it's not just one white. This man. Hey, listen. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to jump and attack a young black sister on behalf of no white person. No white
at all, man.
We get it.
When you got Kellyanne Conway sitting over here to the side supporting you. Come on, man. Come on.
But I got a problem with Mayor Brown.
Yeah.
I got a serious problem because this young dynamic sister beat you, fam.
Fair and square.
Fair and square. And here's the problem I got. I was talking to Sister Noah Chunga, and she's been like, she's like, y'all know, if y'all know Benjamin Dixon, you know what Noah Chunga, y'all know we're the Wonder Twins. She's been covering that race extensively. And she told me last night about all the different moneyed interests that are behind Mayor Brown and how they're especially against Sister Walton, India Walton, because she does identify as a democratic socialist, because she does want to do something good for the people, because she does want people to have health care. Like, can I just ask black folks a question real quick? Could you not use health care whether or not it's attached to your job? Can we just, because this is what the sister is fighting for. I just want to know, has there ever been a time in your life, black folks, that it would have been easier for you to live if you didn't have to keep a raggedy job for the sake of your health insurance? this sister is fighting so that you never have to do that again, so that you don't have to stay at somebody's corporate slave warehouse manufacturing. You're just wherever you're slaving at because you have to keep your insurance. What would you do with your life if you didn't have to stay bound to a job because of insurance? That's what this sister is fighting for. That's liberation. That's freedom. And Mayor Byron Brown not only is trying to keep that freedom from you, he's also doing it using the language of Donald Trump. I want to play the clip again, because listen to him saying, like, some people say, he said, people have been saying, write down Mayor Brown. It sounds exactly like Donald Trump. Run the clip one more time.
Just like him.
We are going on to the general election as a candidate for mayor, and what people have been saying is write down Byron Brown. You know, we know the difference between socialism and democracy. We are going to fight for democracy in the city of Buffalo.
Okay.
The voters have said that they don't want an...
What? Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Now, I know y'all are like, Ben, you be getting so wordy and academic and all this kind of stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. I actually took time to study this stuff.
Preach, brother.
I've got my I got my bachelor's in economics, but that's, I got my master's in political science and international relations, and I'm all but dissertation in, y'all know how that all but dissertation stage is. Y'all know that thing can last for 10 years. But I know my stuff. And brother, the way you said that you know the difference between socialism and capital and democracy, socialism and democracy. Oh, wait, I transformed. I turned into the Matrix. So, sorry, if you're watching live, we'll edit that in post. But
right.
Listen, the fact that he said he juxtaposed socialism with democracy tells me that he has no idea what either is. Tell me which one it is, Mayor Brown. Do you believe that socialism is a governing principle, or do you believe it to be an economic principle? What do you view democracy to be? Do you view democracy to be an economic paradigm or a governing philosophy? Because you just conflated two things that do not match. Democracy is not an economic paradigm, Mayor Brown. And this is something that I'm quite sure that Sister India Walton can tell you about even better than I can, because she is a democratic socialist. The first word in that is democratic. But I don't think she should have to. Here's what I'm talking about we got to do. She should not have to say another word to this brother because she already beat him. Am I right about it? She already beat him fair and square. You lost, dude. And now you're trying to mount a write-in campaign? Nah, we're not doing that. So I want everyone who's listening, everyone who's watching, I want right now and for the rest of the day, this is an appeal to your leaders. This is an appeal to your leaders. This is your right to search for yourself Mayor Byron Brown, who is the mayor of Buffalo, New York. And this is your chance to search for yourself how to contact his office and how to let them know how bad faith this is, how Trumpian this is. This is the epitome of the January 6th. This is the denial of a fair election. This is to say that he did not get his way, and if necessary, he's going to march up the steps of the Capitol on January 6th and seize the office of the mayor in New York, Buffalo, New York, whether you like it or not. I think we should have a problem with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last but not least, black men, we sure as hell better have a problem with this brother doing this to a young black sister who is blazing on the stage. How few and far and in between do we get the opportunity to celebrate a black woman who seizes power through this system? And to have a black man jump in there and try to snatch it from her. The devil is a liar.
It's that old crab in the bucket mentality. Hate to say it, but it exists. It really does.
It does, man. I called his office yesterday. I'm not playing with I'm not playing with
and what was the result? Any outcome? Did you get him?
No. They stopped answering phone calls. We did a thread on Twitter. We did a thread on Twitter, and and Mayor Brown, let me reassure you, it went semi-viral. It hasn't gone viral yet. I don't know why I'm taking this so personally, but I think I'm taking it personally because my daughter wants to run for mayor.
Nice.
So anyway,
y'all call to action. Go to that post, Ben. Make sure you retweet that so we can retweet that. Everybody call to action. Y'all know what to do. Let's make it go viral, man.
Yeah.
Really, at this point, there should be no reason that we're trying to block our own. And that's what really kills me and irks my soul is that this man goes up there, and I hate to say it, and I wish my mom could get on and talk about it because I know she knows. But how would you try to just stop this sister and just basically saying, y'all just sound like Trump supporters, white supremacists, exactly. Saying that Biden didn't win, we're going to go in office, we're going to pull him out. That's basically the same thing that you're saying about this sister. And you sound dumb yourself up here on this stage and don't have any other facts.
We know the difference between socialism and democracy. Well, no, you don't, because if you did, you would say, we know the difference between socialism and capitalism. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you do know that that's the true equivalence, but because you don't want to let people know that you're not really there serving the people, you're there serving capitalism. You can't say the truth, but you know who can? India Walton can.
Yep.
And you know what else?
He just doesn't want to mess up his money. That's all that is.
She already beat you.
Already beat you.
Hashtag stand down Mayor Brown. Hashtag stand down Mayor Brown. I don't care how small my platform is. We're not going to stop till this brother is out of this race. There will be no write-in campaign. Like it or not.
Agreed.
James, I'm going to let you get it here, Doc. I'm going to go grab me some coffee and some tea. When we come back, we're going to handle the situation that's in Haiti. Get a whole 8-minute set, dude. Do what you got, because I got to step away from this one, man. Because when I think about my daughter, my daughter says she wanted to be Keisha Lance Bottoms. And then to have some old stepping boy, get me off this camera. Let's go. Let's go to break.
That's another discussion, Ben. You remember what we talked about the other day? That round table?
Yes, sir.
That's one of those discussions at that round table, Ben.
Let's talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. More coming up next, y'all. Rebecca will be joining the conversation, and we're going to get some Haiti talked about, y'all. Let's get it. Hashtag stand down Byron Brown. Good morning again, everybody. Make sure that you stay tuned. If you have not already, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, patreon.com/likeItOrNot. And even if you have, go ahead and increase your pledge. It's okay. If you want to, we appreciate you anyway. Love y'all, we mean it. So I'll make sure that you stay tuned. Good morning, Mama. Good morning, Daddy. Love y'all. Mean it, man. Shout out to the rest of the family if y'all watching. Good morning. Shout out to everybody that is streaming on Twitch this morning, y'all. My Twitch subscribers, what's going on? Good morning, y'all. Jam Toom, good morning to you. Jam Toom says, as soon as my stream comes up and catches up to me, Jam Toom, this justified anger being, and we should all be taking it personally. This is blatant disregarding of the votes of citizens. Amen, Jam Toom. Appreciate you. We had one more for her as well, too. I agree with Bubba. If the children are our future, why are we always holding them back and trying to warp their ideas? That's real. I don't know if y'all have seen the Tomorrow War on Amazon Prime. I know Amazon Prime Video. I know. Trust me, I know. But if y'all have not seen it, it's a good movie. Premise is fight in the future. The kids have to fight, and they have to come back in time and recruit soldiers. Now it sucks because of the government, but hey, our kids. Well, I don't have any, but the kids now, they're going to be our future. They're going to be the ones to guide and lead and do everything. So we got to make sure that we set them up right, y'all. And right now, we're not doing a good job of that. But when I tell you it's going to be some activism with them, I really think so, man. I really do. And if you have not, make sure that you see America the Motion Picture. I know a few people tweeted me and said they saw it, but make sure that you check it out. Hilarious. Trust me, it is. Trust me. Tiger, exactly, Tiger. We think it's radical. Wait till the millennial kids grow up. Wait till they grow up, for real. Because some of these millennials, man, I know the thought process and some of the actions may look a little crazy, but hey, they make it happen. Magdalene Moon, good morning. Lisa Noel, good morning.
Don't get for the scene, take her own trip. Guarantee it's for a bag and she walking. She get to the cash when she walk. She look like a bag when she walk. She get to the cash when she walk. She look like a bag when she walk. Girl, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Savage Sweetheart, good morning, sister. Yo, Savage Sweetheart, man, that's my dog right there. Me and Savage Sweetheart at the Haitian parties and that, it's a good time every time, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Lisa Noel, good morning.
Got her in my passenger, I told her grab the wheel. Told her get out Jordan Pill. But she rocks with me cause she real, for real. She get to the cash when she walk. She look like a bad when she walk.
Mara, right, Mara. Bankroll, all of their, all that mayhem. Brenda, good morning.
Do it. Girl, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no. I know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said he could have been my celly.
Levi was Brother Goku.
Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down low.
Pixie on the moon, good morning.
I done came through, knocking pictures off you off. Loving people who persecute you, they still a tough life on my path and the lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel like disrespect, tell me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No.
Savage Sweetheart, love you too, and yes we do, man. The best community ever, y'all. Like it or not, the community line community, the BPD community, man. Y'all is the best. Love y'all, we mean it, bro. I swear we're gonna get some merchandise soon. I promise we is, because it's a whole lot of stuff we need to put on the shirt that we've said on this show.
You just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No. See, it's hard to be polite. It's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you're ready. Cause I ain't working on my own time. Ain't got no diamonds on me, but I stay shining. Yeah. And say the world would be a better place if we take out the hate.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Let's keep it real.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the screen. My brother from another mother, Benjamin Dixon, y'all.
I know my faith strong, but my flesh still.
Welcome back. I want to extend the conversation on our sister from Buffalo, New York, India, Walton, and I want to bring in a friend of the show. She's a channel contributor, public defender, and all around dope sister, Sister Olay. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you? Oh, it is always a pleasure. I touched you on this story out of Buffalo, New York, and it just rubs me the wrong. It's just something about it, and what else rubs me the wrong way is that ever talking about it, because if we got the big lie in Donald Trump, do we not see that in Buffalo?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. It rubs you the wrong way for. I actually was watching them discuss that on the Rational National. Ridiculous. It's just ridiculous on so many levels. So Walton won the primary. Obviously, Buffalo is a very blue place, so she's going to be mayor, right? Now, Harris Mayor already been mayor 4 times. He's running for a 5th time. You've lost the people for you. So that should be the end of it. I don't know why the media is engaging him and pretty anything he's doing is making sense, but here he is launching a write-in campaign against this woman's desire to help the city of Buffalo, and he isn't even paying. She's not. He gets out there and he paints her like, oh, this radical socialist. And first of all, he doesn't define socialism, but in any event, if he's trying to make it this big scared, it's like, oh, so she wants to help the people of Buffalo. She wants to give them more control of the means of production and money and resources, and she believes that, they're citying them. So scary. So it's just ridiculous.
If I were to cut through all of it and get to the bottom line, and I know you can go here with me, isn't it just crazy that we have some black who will sell out black people on behalf of capitalism? I mean,
listen,
just gonna cut it.
Capitalism and power, and for individual power at the expense of the, make sure you gather them completely. Because I think what it really boils down to is entitlement, and I think that's what happens when you play a white man's song. I don't have time to mince my words, but that's what happens, right? You've already been times. The people have decided they're done with you, right? They think that they could get progress. There is a black woman in the same party as you, trying to move towards more civic means, and that's an issue for you. So you as a black man get up there and start demeaning her and attacking her and diminishing her in the same empty way that conservatives would do if they were talking about you. It's wild. It's wild. It's not that shocking, but I think it's interesting the fact that because he is a black man doing this to another black woman, it's not being portrayed the way it would be if he were a white conservative or a Republican doing it, but he's behaving in the same manner.
That's the science. That's the science to it. And that's the malicious, that's the insidiousness of it. That's the word I was looking for, because he is behaving and carrying himself towards this black woman in the same exact way white supremacy would. He is literally doing it in the same fashion that Donald Trump would, with the same
absolutely
big lie.
Anti-fairmongering. Exactly. Like, oh, this radical socialist, she wants socialism and we're fighting for democracy. And I'm like, first of all, the woman is a democratic socialist. That's one. Second of all, define it. Let us know what the huge problem is with that. Because all you're saying, he keeps calling her a radical socialist. I'm like, the woman's platform is she wants police officers not to be responding to mental health things. She doesn't believe police officers should be responding to traffic issues. She thinks that they should be putting the money into the community and helping people. She thinks that they should be getting more training. She wants more money put into education. She wants civilian oversight of the police. The woman has a platform, actual substantive things that the people of Buffalo decided that they want to see too. But instead, he's not going to talk about that. He's just going to get up on the screen and holler. And if it weren't who he was, we would be talking about it in an entirely different way. And I also think that's irresponsible on the media's part. I think the fact that they're engaging him as though this is real or something to be taken seriously is just as dangerous as the foolishness we see on the right, because they're like, oh, I've seen several news coverages going, it's going to come down to it's between Mayor Brown and Indy Walton. No. We had a primary. No. The woman already won. That's done. Yes. That's done. There's no come down to nothing.
This is just a man on a tirade because for whatever reason, he's convinced himself that he is the all-powerful permanent mayor of Buffalo. It's confusing to me. I'm like, what exactly is the issue? You've been given more than enough opportunity. So, unreal.
Period.
It's unreal.
Period. Like, so this is the thing. This is the rub, right? No, we're not going to allow these institutions to use this black man to harm this black woman who's fighting on behalf of the liberation of all people, especially and including black people. We're not going to let y'all play the game that you normally play here, because what they normally play here is silence. You're not going to hear anybody like Jim Clyburn come in and tell this guy to stand down. You're not going to hear anyone in the mainstream media talk about how this is truly Buffalo's own big lie. No, you know why? Because the systems are so used to doing this to black people, and they've mastered the art of using black people to do this to black people. And this is what Mayor Byron Brown is doing.
They love talking points. They love all of their same problematic talking points when it comes out of our mouth, because then it becomes like, Derek Bell talks about this, like rules of racial standing, right? Like something when black people act against the interests of the black community, white people will take that one black person to legitimize this obviously problematic position that doesn't benefit us as a community, to pretend like it's legitimate. And that's what's happening here. This man is just going out, recycling regular Republican, conservative, problematic talking points that are based in white supremacy, directing it at this black woman, and here is, white media covering it as though it's legitimate and it's fair, and not acknowledging that angle of it because they get away with it because the man is black was doing it, which is a shame. And I think that's why it's incumbent upon us as black people and in our community to hold him responsible and to make sure to call him out on that, because it's ridiculous. Absolutely. There's no need for it. He needs to concede, go sit down somewhere, retire, go enjoy your time. You done been mayor.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're calling on. We're calling on Mayor Brown to stand down. Hashtag stand down Mayor Brown. Because I think he, no, it is up to the black community, because we can't depend on white folks to handle this one for us. We got to handle this one in house. Mayor Brown, exactly. The black delegation would like to have a word with you. Stand down Mayor Brown. Or we could change it to sat down if we need to. Hashtag sat down Mayor Brown.
Whatever he needs to hear.
Whatever language you need it in, we can speak it, brother.
Right.
I'm glad that you're here this morning, because there's just so many stories that we're covering that just focus on the black trauma. There's just so much trauma. We're looking at now Darnela Frazier, who captured the video of George Floyd being murdered by police officers. And she now has lost her uncle to police violence in the form of a police chase through a residential neighborhood, slamming into a man, killing him. And that man turned out to be Darnela Frazier's uncle. So now she has trauma on top of trauma compounding in her life. What is it that is just so frequent? The trauma for black people in this country is so frequent that the degree of separation is now one.
Because it's a cycle. It's a cycle and it's routine. And I think that's something we don't talk about enough, right? In my job, I always talk about the way the criminal system and all these tragedies that happen in the black community. We have to recognize that it affects the entire community. And it's not just one time thing. It's not like you go through a traumatic event and then that's the end of it. That's just something for you to rebuild, right? Trauma just continues rolling into other issues and what happens, and that affects everybody, right? So this happened to this woman. She had to witness what happened to George Floyd, right? And that's already something for her to reckon with and deal with. Now she lives in that community and has to deal with however the police receive that, how they treat her, being known. Her family has to deal with that. Now it's her uncle. It's continuous. And I think, I don't know, alas, I don't know how we reconcile and how we get past these things. I think is more so that we have to get through it, and we need to figure out ways to support each other more and recognize that it's a daily battle, right? This isn't something that we blink our eyes and it's gone. It's not a moment. This is something that the entire community is dealing with, has been dealing with, and is probably going to be dealing with for the rest, at least my life for sure. So we have to start figuring out systems and ways that we support one another. There has to be something more, and I think things like, I know they gave Darnela Frazier the prize, which
Pulitzer, yeah.
Yes, they gave her and I don't know how to characterize that, but that's not the support that we as a community need to figure out something else. How else we uplift this young girl, and how we uplift everybody else, because we know about her and we know about that case and we know about these different things, but there are so many police brutality cases, so many families and communities and all these people. It goes outwards. It's not just this individual victim. It's not just the person you heard about. It's the entire community is affected. So we have to figure out ways that we uplift and support each other on a daily, because these things contribute to more violence, more problems, more psychological trauma, and as our community gets locked in these cycles. But it's hard. It's rough.
I'm thinking of the brother who was killed. We covered it on Roland Martin last night. The police officer pled guilty to manslaughter. Is only going to receive 3 years. 3 years for the life of a black man. And to hear the mother, the wails and the screams of the mother as she... as her soul ripped apart, stating how now she has to live. She had to live without her mother. She lost her father, but now she has to live without her son. And in this case, the police officer shot the man in the back as he ran away. And I don't have it. My producers will get me the name and the state. We'll get all the precise information for those who want to know the exact story. But the story repeats itself around the country too many damn times.
Right. It could be so many. That could be so many stories. That could be so many stories. It's just America's legal system just does not care about what the truth is and what justice is and what is fair. And that's just the honest truth. I wish I could say something else, but that is the truth, right? Because legally speaking, running away from the police, the Supreme Court has decided this, running away from the police is not even indicia of guilt, right? Legally, in terms of, how the court is supposed to analyze that, that's not even grounds for you to justify, proceeding after somebody or, evidence of their guilt. But somehow every day in this country, police are able to shoot Black people in the back. Shoot us, kill us. There's never been a more clear, someone is not a threat to you. They are running away from you. Legally, you should even have the time, the things that they're chasing these Black people for what? Just last night I put up a case on, I do that daily thread, and they shot the man. They were like, oh, he's not complying. He was running away, about them trying to pull him over for expired tags. What? Why is that? Why does that matter? The things that they murder people for, and to me that just exemplifies that these are just flexes of power. That's all it is. It's just the ability to show that you can dominate a people and you can exercise this control over them, and no one can stop you, because there's no other reason. Why are you chasing somebody down about things that aren't even crimes, traffic infractions, misdemeanors, things that you wouldn't be able to prosecute? You couldn't put them in jail for that. You know what I mean? You couldn't even beat that case. It makes no sense. But yet you are murdering someone for it. That makes no sense. And in no other context would we allow it. But we allow it with police, and we allow the system to go on where they can continue doing it constantly. And it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It blows my mind about this country every day.
This is the story. And I'm reading from NBCnews.com. The grieving mother of a Black man killed by a white police officer during a 2018 shooting that was captured on video told him Friday he better watch his back in jail, prompting chaos in a Tennessee courtroom where the ex-officer pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. And this is the mother of the victim speaking. She said, I hate you. I don't accept your apology. Vicky Hambrick screamed at Andrew Delk, a former officer with the Metropolitan Nashville Police. You better watch your back in jail. So Hambrick is the mother of Daniel Hambrick, and it's just another brother. And we don't have the video, but I don't want to play the video because I don't want to hear that mother screams again. I'm tired of America.
I love that she said she hates them, because too often Black people are expected to be so much more forgiving, so much more benevolent, so much more kind-hearted than everybody else. We're the only people who are supposed to deal with trauma and abuse every single day in the country, and we're supposed to say, it's okay. Join hands with me. It's fine. No one else does that. Everybody else, anytime there's a crime committed against anybody else, they can't wait to trot out the white victim to go on a long tirade about how this person needs to go to jail long ago. Well, look how my family's been affected. Yeah. But anytime as a Black person, we're supposed to come out here, get real religious, soft, forgiving, and all of this. So I appreciate that Black woman allowing herself to feel her emotions and say, you know what, I hate you. You took my son. Yeah. And that's her right. That's absolutely her right. And I'm glad she did it.
They've been trying to get my attention. Let me bring Rebecca in, Rebecca Zor in the conversation. My fault, y'all.
Rebecca.
The story of this mother, and just listening to her screams kind of like just really threw me. And that's why I'm not interested in playing that clip on this episode. But good morning, Rebecca. It's a wild morning for everybody.
Good morning, Ole. I was letting y'all just go
Rebecca.
I'm like, yo, we back here. Hi, hey, we here. But good morning. The topic that you guys were discussing was is definitely one that is very important. I actually wanted to jump in on when you guys were talking about the Buffalo mayor and how the mayor who has held that seat for a minute is giving her a lot of pressure. And trying to have her stand down. But Ben, you're telling him to stand down. Mayor Brown, stand down. I think that's so cheesy but funny. It's good. Yeah. It's good.
Oh, well, it's in response to it's in response to him in his little speech. He said, "Write down, Mayor Brown." I said, "Okay, champ, stand down, Mayor Brown." You want to play this game of semantics and words. We got you on this one, brother.
Yeah, slogans work, but
sloganeering,
right? Sloganeering. But it's like it's one of those things, and it be your own people. We discuss this all the time. It be your own people. I remember us covering her winning, and it was what caught me by surprise was that he didn't even want to debate her. He didn't even want to have the conversation. He didn't think that she was worthy of it. He thought that he was going to get this seat once again, like it's something promised to him. But when he lost it, now he's looking for every option to break her down. And that to me is ridiculous. Move out the way so that somebody else can do what needs to be done, so that we can see what it would look like to have the first Black woman in that space. So I don't know why he's in her way.
But she's
it should be like
power.
Yeah.
Because power. I think we see it so often, and we don't call politicians enough on it, that they just do things because they want to be in a position of power. It's really no different than Andrew Yang just bouncing around all around the country trying to figure out what he could win. You know what I mean? They don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. It's not a genuine desire to help the community. It's just, here is an opportunity for me to be in a position of power and let me get it. And in his case, he already had it. And so he extra feels entitled to it. And he thinks it's just supposed to be for a forever thing. So he doesn't really care it's not about India Walton. It's about, whoever it is. He doesn't think that they are worthy. He's supposed to occupy the space. The only difference is because it is India Walton, because it is this Black woman, because it is this person, he's able to attack her in a different way and, paint it as something else. So even when he was like, in his little rant, he was like, oh, the people of Buffalo have spoken and they don't want an inexperienced. I was like, the people of Buffalo that voted for her? Those are the people that have spoken and said they don't want her? He's like, oh, they don't want this inexperienced. I'm like, I'm sorry, who would be more experienced than the man that's been sitting here occupying the space for 4 terms and they done told you they don't want you go somewhere. You want that's just how they are. I think it's just entitlement. That's what I was saying to Ben earlier to me about getting caught up in this white man's game of, here is the seat, this is mine. I deserve to occupy it. It belongs to me. And I think he's forgotten it does not belong to you. And I think that's what the people of Buffalo get, that India Walton does get. It belongs to the people. They make the decision. And that's what she wants to see happen. She wants to give the power that you have given to yourself and corporations and all the other people that you have in your pocket and your camp. She wants that to be given to the people of Buffalo, and they want the same. And he doesn't want to accept that.
Yeah. And it's funny because you said something key there. Like, the seat ain't for you. Listen, when you take the seat, you're representing the people and the voices of the people. And these, the people who have been embedded their booties in this seat, they literally feel like, since I've been here for so long, it should automatically be given to me. This woman is inexperienced, so she doesn't deserve. But it's like, well, the people have spoken, like you said. They ain't say they ain't want her. Clearly, they want her because of the results, right, of the race. And now the voting. The voting is very important, and the people came out and voted a totally different way than what he expected. And I think that the more that he pushes her, the more she's gonna push back. And this is the thing about these Black women, especially nowadays. Like, there's no. She's not going to stand down to him, and she's going to keep on pushing. And then when people find out about that her story is so much more relatable, you like, that's going to be something where the people be like, oh, nah, she was a whole nurse. I'm a nurse. She got kids. I got kids. She's fighting for something. Right. I'm fighting for something. So, yeah.
All they do, people so often, so many times, they create the adversary that they most fear, you know? If you think, first of all, she beat you without you even having her name in your mouth. You know what I mean? She beat you then without the attention. So now she's already beat you. And now you want to be on this campaign talking about her. And all you're doing is drawing more attention to her and her excellent platform. Like you said, I'm like, this is a woman who, you know, gave birth to her twins and then went back and decided to be a nurse in the exact same place where her twin boys were in the NICU and survived, and she does that work. And you're only drawing attention to all the community work she's doing because you say something like radical socialist in the year 2021, and what I hear is, oh, let me hear this lady want to help somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you have a community of lackluster people standing behind you. Nobody behind him was looking like the Beehive. You know, no one looked like they are his. He looked like these were some people outside and like, listen, we'll give you $5 if you stand right behind me right quick for the speech. That's what it looked like. And I'm like, sir, you should go out respectfully. You know what I mean? Like, just go out on the high.
They don't do that.
Like,
they just don't do that.
What I said was, Olay, they look like that. Those were his voters. If you look at that, they're older, much older, senior citizen community. And of course, you got Kellyanne Conway that was on the other side of him too. It's like these white Republicans, like he's just like, okay, let me just go ahead and get this little bit of these white folks up here because these are people that vote for me because y'all just you playing that part, Uncle Tom.
Right. And it's a terrible, honestly, it's a terrible selling point because I'm like, who are you? Like, I would love to know, who is your audience, right? Who is the audience? Because the voters have already voted, right? And who are you speaking to? Because if you are a Black man standing up, you know, criticizing a Black woman and surrounded by you are, you know, confused looking white people and, you know, some older Black people, I'm like, who are you selling this to? I'm just like, it's unclear. Yes. I'm like, I can't be your target audience here because you are not convincing me. I feel distrustful off rip. You know, when I saw the video, I'm like, this man is a Democrat because this is serving me strong Republican energy.
It's giving. It's giving very conservative. It's giving like you know, them old heads that literally feel like everything be dropped into their lab. They don't know how to work for social media. They got somebody doing all the work for them. They have not. There's no innovation. They're stuck in the same old. That's what it's giving me. And that's why he doesn't want India Walton. That's why he doesn't want her at all because he knows it's going to be fresh. It's going to be new, and it's going to be. And even her campaign itself worked itself out through social media because a lot of people didn't know who she was before she won, and until she put out her information on social media, it got to the hands of somebody. We let that thing go viral. It was like a Black woman. Oh no, Black woman won. Like it became something big because this is what we want to see, and we want to see relatability. We want to get people who actually understand the struggle, who can feel, who can understand, who can be right down in the trenches with us, and we want to actually see her benefit and come up from that. You know,
an actual member of the community.
Yes, an actual person who understands, like, hey, yo, what it feels like to have, like you said, kids in the NICU, to understand what it feels like to live paycheck to paycheck, to understand what it feels like to maybe possibly not get medical attention that she needs, even though she's a nurse, right? So all of that goes into play, and she's thinking about the people, and that's what I like to hear, even what she stands for. If you go and check out her website and what she stands for, and then you go to his is very general, and hers is very specific to the people.
And his just talks money.
That's it.
It just talks money and the people he's in bed with. And I'm like, you're only really just proving the point, right? Like, you have a whole website and thing, and it's really just talking about the corporations and the developers and the whoever you in bed with. But what about the people? And that's the difference between their platforms. But I think the reality is his own discussion is very telling on how he feels and what he wants, because the man he doesn't say write in Byron Brown, he says write in Mayor Brown. Like, it's very clear he has infused this with his identity. He thinks that he is the permanent mayor. This is his spot, and how dare anybody challenge him for it?
Sounds very Trump. Sounds very, very Trump-like. And that's
very much so.
And that whole sickness, like I said, it's embedded into these people, especially the white men. But then, there's levels to this. The black woman is at the bottom. So the respect that she's going to get is going to be like literally at the bottom of the totem pole. That black man believes that he deserves. He's not going to look at, oh my goodness, I'm going to pass the baton to another black person. Not only that, a black woman who will be the first.
He's not interested in that. There are a lot of people that are like that. I've experienced that. I feel like from college and up, there's always an opportunity. I feel like, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but those are my cats being terrorists. But they're the worst in the background. I'm like, Lord, there's always an opportunity where you have to navigate white spaces, right? And you can make a determination like, how do I get in? Where can I fit in? And do I do for me or do I do for what's best for the community? And I think a lot of times you see people like this, like he's figured out, he's a Democrat, he's on the side of, he's figured out how to navigate the space to make it work for him. And he's decided, okay, it's okay for me to thrive. I'm the one black person that I'm fine with thriving in this spot. I should occupy these positions of power. But he doesn't have the same interest in bringing anybody else up, So he's not in that game. He has no interest in passing the baton because that's not what he signed up for, what he agreed on. What he agreed to do was find a space for himself and to hold on to it with all he's got. And that's what he's trying to do. He doesn't care what she's trying to do. He doesn't care what the community has decided because it's not about them. It's about Mayor Brown, have decided I'm mayor. And I'm going to keep being mayor. I didn't agree to y'all deciding to vote for this woman. And like, he's probably, I wish I could be a fly on the wall to see his shock when he lost. Like, because you got to be majorly, think about it, to refuse to debate a woman and then lose. And then get up, refuse to concede and say, you know what? I'm going to do a write-in campaign. That's a deep, deep, deep level of entitlement, shock, denial. And I wish I could have been in the house. Like, he threw a tantrum, right? He threw over a table. He couldn't believe it.
Yes, he did. Listen, Rebecca, you said how black women are at the bottom of the totem. I'm thinking of Kanye West on that line, but I digress. More importantly, I'm thinking of Malcolm X there when he said the most disrespected person on this planet is a black woman. And I promise you, that's the righteous indignation that I think Black America needs to speak to Mayor Byron Brown, who has decided that he thinks the thing to do is to, instead of lifting up our young sister and showing her how she can succeed, this brother want to stop her from getting in the door.
Right.
That might be what white supremacy do. But that ain't what we do as black folks. You got to get out of here with this mess. So we're going to go to
somebody got to tell him ain't nothing wrong with grace. There's nothing wrong with grace. The community will embrace you. And it's not like, he's a one-term mayor and this was his, second term he was looking for that he really needed. And she really this isn't a reflection on him. The man's already been mayor four times. He could have his term and whatever his legacy and his respect, whatever that is that he believes is his credit, his due, his history. He could have all of that. And that could be completely untainted, unchanged by this woman winning. Instead, what he could have done, and I hope he, goes and looks in the mirror, has a conversation with a therapist and a PR person and decides to pivot. But what he could have done is say, you know what? I, as a black mayor, I was mayor for this amount of time and look at the change I ushered in. And now here I am passing the torch. I've made it possible for a black woman to come in. You know what I mean? He could have done this. He could have, put himself in a mentorship position. He could have offered to, what I mean, show this woman the ropes. He could have gone about this in a way in which he could have embraced her. He could have embraced the community. He could have continued to have a thriving career and whatever, like respect and leadership position he wanted. But instead, he decided to get up on TV and behave like a white man. And I don't know what he's thinking. And someone needs to talk to him. I don't know where his wife, his friends, his sister. I don't know. Somebody has to talk to him about it. But
well, I'm calling his office again today. I called his office yesterday. I'm calling his office again today, and I'm gonna call his office every day until he stands down, because you're not gonna do this to a young black sister who is dynamic, who is fighting on behalf of the people, and who has broken through. My brother, you have to understand what it takes to break through being black and poor in America.
And you know what makes it better, I think, makes her stronger? He doesn't have any criticisms for her. He has nothing substantive to criticize. He has not levied one criticism of her. His entire argument is the woman is a socialist, which that's not a criticism. That's like saying, oh, Olayemi is black. I've identified, we're aware. She's already said she's a democratic socialist. That's exactly the platform we like and people voted for. So what's your point? Are you trying to say it would be better if he came up there and said, "Oh, she's not really a socialist. That's just talk." But he can't even say that. So what he's saying is the woman is who she says she is, and we like it.
Sister Olay, thank you so much for coming and sharing and just helping us speak truth to power on this issue. I'm not going to let it go, so I'm gonna reach out to you, and we're gonna keep putting pressure on this brother. Thanks so much for joining us. I got you.
Olay.
Thank you,
Olay. Well, don't forget, Olay. I don't know if I missed it because I was on vacation. But the information that you wanted to give us or share with us about the work that you're doing in the community with these cases and things like that, we would love to cover that as well. So
I got you. I'm gonna email Ben y'all right now. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Awesome.
All right, bye, girl. Have a good one.
Bye.
Hey, Jane. Folks, we're going to take a quick break, make some quick adjustments. When we come back, Rebecca is going to give us the coverage on what's happening in Haiti. We've been following it all morning, the breaking news that the Haitian president was assassinated in his home last night, and that's according to the Haitian prime minister. We're going to take a quick break, more like it or not, after this.
All right, you are now listening to the smooth sounds of DJ Exclusive. No, I'm just playing, y'all. Good morning again, everyone. If you just joined, we're going to get some of these super chats and everything read off, and also get in our patrons covered real quick. New patrons for yesterday. All right, we have Latif M, who joined the BPD Patreon and also increased their pledge on the Lion Patreon. Shout out, brother Latif. Latif is one of our faithful watchers, man. We appreciate you, brother. Nat A, good morning, good morning. We have Corrine R. New Twitch subscribers, we have username is Mia, subscribe with Prime. Late Bloomer 65, subscribe. NZ Cassie, subscribe. Limitless 326, subscribe with Prime. And Sammy Lynn, the Kind Dragon, gifted subscriptions to Afro Puff and OG_Land Shark. So thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. And if you haven't already, make sure that you go join yourself. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Now let's see. Jam Tuned on Twitch says exactly, and the reason they think they can get away with this is because so many have. Let us not forget that this is Turtle Island, stolen land built by stolen people into what we now call America with 3 Ks. Hello, somebody. Tracy Jones, shout out to you. 50 stars sent, and then that's it. Everything else we have already read today. So yeah, we appreciate you. Like I said, make sure that y'all hit that like button, follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. You know, when Like It or Not and the Benjamin Dixon Show is going down. We'll be right back, y'all. Here we go.
I know that feeling. We say goodbye until it hurts. I know that feeling. Stormy skies and fireworks. Yeah. But I'm not afraid to be alone.
Headley Butler, I appreciate that.
I'm not afraid to overcome.
It just looks like this on screen. It takes so much time just to get this thing right, man. But yeah, it looks good on camera. Looks damn good on camera.
Baby, we can make it last. It's better when it's me and you, no matter what I do. 'Cause nothing can really hide.
Brother Goku. If I ain't humming, I'm snapping my fingers. Y'all know me.
Baby, we can make it last. It's better when it's me and you, no matter what I do.
Miss Nuru, good morning. 1020 Carrie, I appreciate you. Y'all know I'll be hiding stuff in my vault, right?
Child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die for the squad, let her ties in the hearse. I've been on the vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good, it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come alive in the night to realize I'm in the middle of the time of my life. I never sold pack for the stack.
Yo.
Got a bag from the way that I write it. Queen looking Tyson. Through that I survived, doing 80 to the house, then I hit it to the sky, changed haters on a tirade.
We gotta light it up, y'all. Listen.
We all want the same. We all want a meal in the safe. I wanna live like I'm trying to reach enlightenment. Drill spill from my lips, feel big from the bib. Take a sip till I pass out. Try and get grit, but it don't make sense. Cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow. I might flip that to the glass house. I don't need the accolades. I'm in love with the chase.
Hey man, if y'all like this song, I need y'all to go ahead and drop them lions and fires in the chat, y'all. Like my brother Chuck Diesel, drop them lions and the fires in the chat, y'all.
5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, could you see me making moves while I'm at? I'm still on the grind, every time when I chat. I'm burning down sage, keep the demons away. When I write to give a piece of myself to the page, I don't do it for the praise, love. That's just how I'm made.
From the glass to the mirror.
Yeah.
Do it at me, old man, trying to pass in the fear. You're the first one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that. And he cleared down. Start to feel like I'm on one. Settle in, I'll be here for the long run. I'm a slave for the cash, got snakes in the grass, no brakes on the ad, but it's all fun. We done seen it all, heard it all. Heard enough, give me space before I murder y'all. 10 bad bitches here, I'ma curb them all.
The chat is literally on fire right now. The chat is literally on fire right now, y'all.
Lighten up, hear them talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list. Going past up when I came.
All right, y'all. Y'all welcome back to the screen. Ben and Rebecca, y'all. Woo. Because if not, we'll keep going.
So got the same.
Whew. Okay. I'm good.
Man, I like that song. I like that
me
song.
too.
One thing I can say I don't like are these gray boxes. They're giving 1998 back on those small Apple computers. Back in like, remember when we used to have those in the elementary and the little games that are three games.
Dwayne, can you?
I knew
so
Dwayne
that the
was
people,
coming. It's all right.
So that the people know what. Is it possible to switch to the orange boxes so people can?
I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch in a minute. But Rebecca be saving her comment, and you know I know we're still in the main show. We about to get to some serious stuff, but Rebecca be saving her comments until we go live. You had 5 minutes to say that in the background.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I mean? But you just gonna wait, and then you just gonna throw just the bus. You just ran me over, and then you put it in reverse and put it in reverse, Terry, and just backed on up. Come on now.
I'm so happy.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
I'm so happy to have you back.
No. Yeah, you could have fooled me. You could have fooled me. It's all right.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry.
Wait a minute.
You ain't ready to mute my mic. It's okay. I got it. I know.
Show the orange boxes, Dwayne. So
he said he gonna do it. He said don't press. Don't pressure him.
I want to be like a bloop, like
he
a
already
switch.
got. It's okay. It's good.
Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute.
See what happens when you do stuff like that, Rebecca?
Yeah, when I just got to change stuff live on the fly. Like I can change it in the background and we'd be just fine, you know.
And I apologize. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean.
Well, she's still in the middle. So
Black folks,
Rebecca,
man, we're talking about that crab in the barrel mentality. Look,
Oh God, no.
Did we say that earlier?
We did say that earlier. We did.
Well,
Rebecca,
it wasn't you, Rebecca.
Love you, Dwayne, mean it. But in other news, we are following closely the new developments that we all woke up to. The news that Haiti's president, Jovenel Moïse, was assassinated. He was assassinated in his home outside of Port-au-Prince, and his wife was also injured. She was shot, and she actually died at the hospital as they were treating her for her wounds. And this is amid a lot that's going on politically, the political unrest that's happening there, for people calling for Jovenel Moïse to step down and to stand down, people calling out U.S.'s president for partnering with Jovenel Moïse after saying that U.S. would actually take on the people and what they wanted. And also in that sense, just yesterday, Jovenel Moïse had actually elected a prime minister. And all of this is a shock to many Haitians, and it's a lot of questions are arising. Again, like I said, this happened just after Jovenel Moïse had elected a prime minister. So here are some updates. It looks like the assailants claim to be agents with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. And this is according to videos taken by people in the area of the president's home. Moïse, who was 53, who lived in a neighborhood just above the hills in the capital, Port-au-Prince. On the video, someone with an American accent is heard yelling in English over a megaphone, DEA operation, everybody stand down. DEA operation, everybody back up and stand down. And again, this is according to the Miami Herald. This is the latest that they have. They say that one of whom the assailants were, who spoke English, were indeed not with the DEA. So this particular assailant, who can be heard on video with an English accent. And so right now things are still developing. Residents reported hearing high-powered rounds fired with precision and seeing men dressed in black running through the neighborhoods. And there are also reports of grenades being thrown and going off. And drones also being used. So all of this is just news coming out. And again, this is being reported by the Miami Herald, by Jacqueline Charles of the Miami Herald. There's so much going on within the country of Haiti. This news itself is not what we called for when we asked for Jovenel Moïse to stand down. We don't know all of the information surrounding it, but these are the facts. It's very sad, though. It's very sad that it had to come to this, an assassination of the president. So there are many people going around and putting out news saying that it was Spanish-speaking people who were also there. But again, these are what we do know is what I just told you. Now, a lot of other people, eyewitnesses, are saying there were Spanish speakers there. They were white Spanish speakers, and they were there. They were the assailants, but that is not confirmed information. This is very sad. Now, I was one of the people who said that Jovenel needs to stand down, right? Or he needs to listen to the people, and they need to start moving forward with other leadership in another direction. I still stand on that, but having the president assassinated, the president being assassinated, him and his wife. Now that to me is not the way. That to me is not the way. That isn't right. And as we are getting more information, it still hurts my heart, that this man was murdered. This man was assassinated. And under Haiti right now, the political unrest, the things that are happening with the government, the things that are happening with the people, the lack of a lot of things that are happening. It's a lot. This is not going to be good for Haiti. And as we go through the day, you'll see what will start to happen in the streets of Haiti. There are going to be more protests, I believe, with everything in me. There are going to be people shaken. There are going to be people on the other side of it. It's going to be a lot more that happens. So my prayers are with Moise's family, but and especially with the people of Haiti who can't afford any more just any more pain and suffering in this moment. So as we again get news and as this news continues to develop, we'll give you more on it. But again, Haiti, it's just, I don't know. Haiti deserves a lot more, much better. And whoever is a part of this, the key thing that I think that for me, because we don't want to be a part of the conspiracy theories, we don't have all the information, all the puzzle pieces together. Now, I do know that a lot of the news that I'm hearing, when I heard that in the mainstream, like my parents and them got it first. They knew that the wife had died hours before that the news had brought it out here. And that's because they have people on the streets who are talking, people who are working in the hospital, things like that. So as the news does begin to develop, we'll definitely bring it to you. My heart is with Haiti. This, to me, isn't the way. Assassinating the president isn't the way. And it's very interesting, again, that it comes right after just things like him electing a prime minister. The next day, he's assassinated. His wife is also killed. And I believe that's because she saw who the assailants were. And for it to be on video and for a key thing to be that one of them was an American speaker with an American accent who talked about being a part of the DEA. Yeah. And indeed was not. So it's very painful. Assassination, you guys. Assassination.
That's crazy. And I wanted to ask a question real quick, maybe for Rebecca and Ben. I mean, I know they said DEA involvement, but honestly, y'all, when would DEA announce themselves if they're doing a raid?
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't. And this is again,
it's so crazy.
It is crazy. And this is in Haiti, right? So it makes it sound legit. And so for them, it'll make it sound like, okay, is this possible or whatever? But people aren't stupid. We know how corrupt the government is in Haiti. We know that a lot, and I've said this before on the show, there have been partnerships with people in other governments. There have been partnerships with people, and what they'll do is they'll assign a lot of people who are a part of gangs to go and push forward to do these things and put the blood on so that the blood isn't on their hands. Right. And so the reason I believe that this was because they have something in mind, and we'll see, like I said, as this begins to develop, we're going to see exactly what comes into play, because it's just, to me, for me, in my personal opinion, it's just very interesting that this comes right on the heels of him having a fresh prime minister and the leadership that's going to change and who's going to be in that place interim and knowing that there are people who are right amongst him who, because if you're the president and there's security, how easy is it for them to get access?
Let's talk about that.
The people that wanted access to him before couldn't get it, right? But all of a sudden, on a random night, right after he did what he, elected as prime minister, there's Operation No Security. It's open, and then all the world is talking about white Spanish speakers, and then one guy with an American accent. It's just very eerie to me, the corruption, the access that they had to this man while he's one of the highly protected officials in the country, in the island country. It doesn't make any sense to me. And we know, my parents have been talking about it for years. I've been talking about it. As beautiful as my motherland is, the only thing we know when it comes to our government, we know when it comes to politics in that country, it's very shady. The police themselves will partner with gangs in the streets and supply them with guns. The government themselves will partner with gangs in the streets and supply them with guns. People in places where they don't got food, but they have guns. Okay, and then we'll turn around and say, "Oh, the country is bad. There's so many of this, there's so many of that." And the governments that supply them with guns sometimes aren't even the Haitian government. There are governments from other partnering countries. And it's to keep Haiti in this particular turmoil so that they can continue to do what they're doing, funnel whatever they need to funnel through the country, get people in a powerful position that they've promised. If they, all kinds of things are going on within the country. And I believe that Jovenel Moïse has been caught in the crossfire of all of that.
The complexities of this one is the complexities are fascinating. But I do want to start first with the fact that how many black men do we see assassinated on the global stage? No matter what position, where we stand, because as Sister Azor made very clear, we understood the side of the people in the conversation, and that President Moïse was not on the side of the people. We understand that complexity, but then you also have to understand that this globe has a history of gunning down black people, not just black men, black people, and doing it through an assassination. To what end and for whose benefit? To what end and for whose benefit? Because I've rarely seen, Rebecca and James, I've rarely seen something good come out of violence. I don't see how this will lead to something good for the people, because while we don't know exactly who or what, we do know, at least we know it wasn't the DEA. Like, come on. I mean, that's a smoke and mirrors that we can all just kind of say, okay, we could toss that idea out, if for no other reason than the fact that he was backed by the United States. And so you're right. We don't have all the information. There's so many things about this story that we don't have. But I do appreciate the fact that, Rebecca, you're getting coverage directly from Haiti, and that is from sources that we can trust versus sources that are going to interpret it based on what's in the best interest of the United States.
Yeah. And even how it's being publicized now. It's honestly from this one-sided view. And if you literally go just to social media, the news and the developments and things like that, the voice of the people, how they're piecing it together, a lot like how Chuck Modi does when, mainstream media does one way, and Chuck Modi will get to the street and to the people, and they'll be the ones piecing together this information. That's why I went straight to Jacqueline Charles of Miami Herald, because she's a Haitian American who focuses on Haitian news. And of course, she's going to give it that way. If you go onto these other ones, they're not going to give you the accounts from the people and what they heard and the possible grenades, and who they saw and what was the language being spoken and where's the video and things like that. You're not going to get all of that right now, because it's going to be kind of like padding it safely and delivering it. Because I believe, and this is my opinion, I believe that a lot of the partnerships to the corrupt system, the corrupt government in Haiti, it has a definite hand in this. So they're going to present this news as, it was just an assassination, but there's so much more to it. There's so much more behind the scenes. And I believe as, again, the people start to speak, we're going to be able to unpack what's really happening. But Ben, you said something, and that was that, the assassination of black men, black people around the globe. And the fact that it was just so easy for them to step in after all of this time, since they've been calling for this man to step down. And it is not until now, this particular moment, that he's assassinated. And he's now, his body is laying cold, yet the security presence is increased in front of his home. And, so it's very strange to me that, I see this, but the tears that we're going to see from the government, trust me, are going to be crocodile. Okay. I believe that there is partnership in this man's assassination. I believe there was definitely information that was leaked or given to break in on this man and his wife. So again, to point out, it was not only Jovenel Moïse who was assassinated, but it was also the First Lady of Haiti, his wife, who died at the hospital from her gunshot wound. So
you don't assassinate a president without some help. It just doesn't happen.
Because they could have got to him a long time ago. The people wanted him. Okay, the people on the streets wanted him. Do you understand? People on the streets ain't scared. And people, what they got to lose in Haiti, right? That's how they see it. What do they have to lose in Haiti? But all of a sudden, his security presence couldn't stop what was going on last night. Very interesting.
Because if you think about it, think of the reaction. I when I think of these situations, I always think, what is going to be the reaction? Everybody is going to dismiss the fact that the guy said we're with the DEA. Everybody dismisses that, right? Then the next thing is, so who did it? Well, very easily, this could be laid at the plight. This could be laid at the feet of the people who have been in opposition of Moïse. So what happens? What's the likely reaction here? The likely reaction is a crackdown on the people. Now, Rebecca, I want to ask you that, because you know the politics there a lot better than I do. How is the government, the new prime minister who was just installed last night, and whoever's going to succeed and replace Moïse, how is the government likely to react if this somehow gets laid at the feet of the people who have been organizing against the president?
You're going to see how they frame it. It's going to be how they've been framing it. It's the, all this violence in the streets, the guns, They're going to frame it as if it's the people and not the government, right? And like I said, many times the government partners with people on the outside in other countries so that they can give these other countries what they need to continue to abuse Haiti and keep Haiti where it is, where they can utilize Haiti for its resources and then put out in the world that Haiti is just this third world country that ain't got no help, right? To keep it there. Because if you keep it there, we can continue to abuse it and use it. And then in that same sense, they're going to go out and say that it's the people that are the issue. The people can never get it together. This is going to be the thing that they put out instead of pointing the scope at the government. My question is, in which I want to see, what does this mean for Haiti in the next few days? And I don't even say the next few days. I mean in the next few moments, because I can guarantee you that as the sun is coming up, the people are in the streets already. There are a lot of people that are probably wailing, people that are confused, people that don't know, because this was not the way. Even though the people were outside protesting, they were protesting for a structure. Get him down. Let's figure out, listen to us, and let's put in a space in a position where we can choose a new leader. Give us the options to give you options, right? Give us that opportunity to give you options to put in somebody else to replace them. This was not the way. When the people who were actually protesting for a change, this was not what they were speaking about. They weren't speaking about assassinating. Yes, they will burn stuff down, but they were not speaking about the assassination of the president.
So this is not something they should lead. This at no point should any media narrative go out that suggests that this was something that was done on behalf of the people of Haiti.
Mm-hmm. But you will see as it begins to come. Because if you look on CNN right now, they're saying this comes on the heels of Haiti having political unrest, and they're not even able to agree to anything, basically forming like it's the people and the people who already didn't like them. And the people, and here's the thing, politically, we can all have a stance on something. It's okay for Haiti to say that this man just doesn't fit the position. We need somebody who's going to listen to us and hear us out. That's okay. That is okay. And it's okay for people to go out and protest about that. That is just fine. We do it every day here in America. So it's okay for them to go and protest about that. But because of the state in which Haiti is and how grave it is when it comes to the politics, they're going to definitely say, and how they've been pointing out that the gang violence has gone up, has shot up within the last year, especially with under COVID-19, and how they have lack of access to vaccines. They're going to put all of this out there, right? And they're not really going to focus on it literally being something that is within house. Okay, it's the partnerships that Haiti has with other governments, and this is because an assassination doesn't just happen like that.
Yeah.
And if it was from the people, it would have been happened. Trust me.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and you're talking about, I mean, like you're speaking very clearly to the fact that Haiti is still a recovering nation. I saw somebody on Twitter say, you know, let's stop calling these nations developing nations when they're recovering from colonialism. They are recovering from what the colonizers did to them. And I'm looking at this scenario where this could easily be laid at the feet of the people, but when the clear culprit has always been colonial power and its remaining influence in Haiti, and the fact that that colonial power not only comes in the form of the United States, but also the fact that Haiti has this relationship, or France still has this exploitative relationship with the nation of Haiti. Rebecca?
I just we're still paying for that, like as we see that now, right? And it's, you know, and you see these this visual here, Jovenel must go, all these things. This is what they're going to put up, and it's going to help frame the conversation that it was the people. It was the people on the streets because they wanted him gone so bad. So it was them. And that's the thing. We can have an opinion. We can have a political opinion as the people of a country. We can say no more dictatorship. We can say stop partnering with the ops and listen to the people who live here in this country. And let's figure out how to benefit us while you are here as our leader. That can be a conversation that happens. But again, they're going to be posting up things and showing the bandits, the gang members out there with guns in particular locations, in particular places. I've seen, when I was in Haiti, I saw the president and I saw the amount of protection and security that he had around him. Okay. I was able and fortunate enough to, when I got off the plane, to go through where the president walks through when he gets out of the plane. The security level that he has, it may not be how it is in America, but he has it. And it's not the people, which they will frame. It's not the people that wanted a difference and wanted to change that killed this man. They just wanted him to stand down. The type of violence they'll burn stuff down, but they weren't calling for the assassination of that man. Okay? And I just want to make that clear. The people who were fighting for a difference were not calling for the assassination of that man. This was something that was done within house. But I know that it's so much. And I called my dad this morning, and the way that he fell silent on the phone, you know, that really hurt me, because he's just like, "Munyo méchant." That means like the people, and I know when he says that, he's like, you know, the people are terrible. The people, they're definitely, there's something with it. My dad said to him, for me, hearing my dad speak, when he says the people, it's not talking about the people of Haiti. He's talking about the people in the government. And everybody knows that. And that's the only conversation that's being had outside of the American conversation. That's the only conversation that's being had amongst Haitians who are there, amongst immigrants who are here. They know exactly what happened, but it's super sad. And I know we have the latest as far as what America, our American government has said when it comes to Haiti. And I want us to take a look at what Jen Psaki had to say about it.
The Haitian president, Jovenel Moïse, assassinated overnight. What's the U.S. message to the people of Haiti, and what is the United States willing to do to keep that island stable?
Well, first, I would say the message to the people of Haiti is this is a tragic tragedy. It's a horrific crime, and we're so sorry for the loss that they are all suffering and going through, as many of them are waking up this morning and hearing this news. And we stand ready and stand by them to provide any assistance that's needed. This news is just coming out, as you know, John, overnight, so we're still gathering details. We're still gathering specifics. And, of course, our embassy and State Department will be in close touch. But it's a tragedy. We stand with them, and it's important that people of Haiti know that.
And my question to her would be, and again, I know that this is still developing, but my question to Saki would be the information that we gathered from whether there were Spanish speakers there, because that's what the Prime Minister said. And I did see that earlier this morning when I was looking for information. The Prime Minister made a statement saying that all that they know were that there were Spanish speakers. They can confirm there were Spanish speakers there. Now, like I said, Jacqueline Charles of the Miami Herald was able to report that on video, there was a person with an American accent who said that they were from the DEA. And so I would ask her who, did they get any information? Were they able to identify if this person, clearly with an American accent, who was saying they were from the DEA, trying to get access to the president? Do they have any clue who that person is? Is there any more follow-up to that? Because that seems closely, since the person had an American accent, that definitely tells us that there was somebody possibly American as well who was a part of the situation. So, yeah.
Yeah, that question and answer was rather useless for the for the people of Haiti.
Because they have a lot to say when it comes to the politics, right? They got a lot to say. They go behind the scenes and utilize, I said, like the resources in Haiti. I say this all the time. You're there to use our resources. You're there to eat our food. You do vacations there. You take certain areas, now take it away from the Haitian people, make it a resort. And you guys definitely make money off of that. And so with all that being said, when it comes to the people, that vague, you guys have your foot on Haiti's necks. France does. All these European countries, and then as well as U.S., the partnerships that are there does not benefit the people of Haiti or the country itself.
Ooh,
but it takes and takes and takes and takes from it. But when something happens like this, here's the apology that you have. But there are things that need to be answered for, because there is information that's already out there that seems to be American related. So when you are speaking to the people, let them know that, hey, this person that supposedly was American there, we'll get you some more information on it, because if it indeed was, we definitely have to deal with it as it should be, and give the people of Haiti something to work with, because they know, I'm pretty sure they know something, because these accounts are coming from the people on the ground. But this apology, while you're still going to continue to abuse the country, is worthless. And I mean, I understand as a government, that's what, that's a thing to do, is to reach out and speak on the country state and apologize and give your condolences. I understand that is the thing to do. But honestly, this right here is very big. That man was assassinated, bruh.
Yeah.
The assassination of a president. We know how it feels here in America when we hear about JFK. That, the assassination of a president is not, it's a shocking feeling. And especially to me in Haiti, with Haiti going through what they're going through, and in this particular moment, not having any actual leadership. This is not the way that they said they wanted the leadership removed. This is not the way. They wanted it structured. They wanted the people to be heard. Again, I say this to be clear. They wanted the people to be heard. When they went out to protest, they wanted a system in place where people can be heard and they can put a leader in place. This was not the way. So then because this happened, we're going to see things shift, but the benefit isn't going to be for the people. It's going to be for the government. It's going to be for the government. This is the last thing that Haiti needed. When I say Haiti, this is the last thing that the people of Haiti needed.
Bubba, I don't have your audio, Bubba, but you may be going out to the public. So just
Rebecca, can you hear me?
I can definitely hear you. Were you trying to talk, sweetheart?
Oh yeah, I was saying something. I think I was just muted to y'all, but that's my fear, is that I'm scared for the people, for the simple fact that they didn't need this. And like Rebecca being said, it's scary because it almost looks like it's going to come back on the people. And now it's going to be more attacks and everything else on the people versus where it needs to be, their government. Because I really do feel this was an inside job. Yeah. Inside job with help from others. We'll just say others.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And as like I said, they're going to try to make it as vague as possible. I don't understand why the Prime Minister, who just was seated yesterday by Jovenel Moïse, is saying all he knows that they're Spanish speakers.
Come on, y'all gotta have more. Y'all, I'm gonna say this phrase. I'm talking about intelligence in the form of American CIA intelligence. I know y'all got more intelligence than that.
Right.
I know you have received a profile of who these people are from the American government at this point.
Right.
For sure, you've gotten an update because this was our dude. When I say our dude, I'm saying the American government's dude.
Yeah.
Now, listen. I don't know if you got call America if you need help. America has all the intelligence. They know exactly who did it. And I say that to say there is a relationship that this country, the United States, has had. And Rebecca, you went down the list, or actually you mentioned it, and it brought up the list of all the people who've got their hand in Haiti right now, particularly from the United States. I mean, obviously the earthquake in 2010, where so many people went down there in the name of doing good for Haiti, and they turned around and exploited Haiti like that nation has been exploited since time immemorial.
Like, as I'm looking at these comments and things, it's a lot of people who don't it's a lot of Americans and white Americans, I would say, that are saying, oh, it was definitely the Haitians themselves that murdered him, with no partnership with the mercenaries or the CIA or whatever. You see, if we leave it to people who don't understand and who don't really know how government works in Haiti and how corrupt all government is to me, but particularly because Haitian government is so partnered and puppeted by other countries, and one of those countries being the country that I live in today, and that's the United States of America. They don't understand that they literally just partner with people on the the street level and in gangs and things of that sort, and they'll basically use them to do the dirty work. And this is why I can't allow the conversation to be headed by people on the outside who think they know all kinds of government just because they know a few things. But when I'm telling you right now, y'all, as the information begins to drop, you guys will see and you guys will understand. But God bless Haiti. And my prayers are with my family out there who are going to have to deal with the aftermath of this, and Haiti as a whole, and Jovenel Moise's family, to lose not only him, but his wife, and to their family. I'm not sure if they had a kid. I'm not sure, but if they do have a child, this child has no parents, you guys. And just think about all of that. And then their families now have lost, all because these people were holding a position, and we don't know, we like, this wasn't it. When we said we wanted them removed, this wasn't it. This is not how we said it. This is not what we meant. But again, like it or not, we'll definitely be behind this information as it continues to develop. We'll be giving you the updates as the information comes to us. So let's take a quick break and let's pivot from this. And Bubba, give us something nice, and we'll be right back. You want that same song?
That one from earlier, not the one right before, but the soul song.
Yeah.
The soul.
I know what he's talking about.
Oh my God, that thing had my heart going like, yeah. Let me hush and let you play that.
Ben loves a lot of funk music, Rebecca. You see that?
Oh man, it's in my soul, baby.
Oh yeah, I see that.
He's so old. Me and my microphone are fighting today. Jesus. It doesn't want to stay still. There we go. Let's try that, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned, y'all. And if you have not already, patreon.com/likeItOrNot. Patreon.com/likeItOrNot. This is how we keep bringing y'all such dope content. So make sure, if you have not already, patreon.com/likeItOrNot. Go ahead, go by and increase your pledge if you want to as well. Too, y'all. We love y'all. We mean it. Patron parties, y'all. Patron parties. Don't want to miss those, y'all. Like it or not.
I'm running too hot. I need to cool me down. I'm flying too high. I don't see the ground. I'm running too hot. I need to cool me down. I'm flying too high. I don't see the ground. Baby, you set my soul on fire. Every morning and every evening. And maybe we can't get any higher.
Shut up, brother Chuck Diesel.
Take a ride. We can discover what we're hiding. Taking your time and I sure don't mind. But every inch of my body's getting wild.
Shout out to B in the building. What's going on, B?
The way that you move is like a love machine. Come be my king and I'll be your queen. I'm running too hot, I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high, I don't see the ground.
Come on, then, A. Wake it and bake.
I'm running too hot, I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high, I don't see the ground. Baby, you set my soul on fire. Every morning and every evening. And maybe we can't get any higher. But if you like to take a ride, we can discover what's
Laura Estrada, I absolutely love funk. It is dirty and sexy and full of lust and hope. Right.
And maybe we can't get any higher. But if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding. Set my soul on fire.
All right, y'all. Welcome back, Ben and Rebecca.
And maybe we can't get any higher.
I like this one. I like this one. I am downloading that song.
Put my hand
Right.
up, take it down.
I was about to say.
Bring my hip.
Got Ben looking like the Blues Brothers over there. That's why he like it so much.
Yeah.
Rebecca over here looking
Them
like
things better have-
like
them
she's
things
from
better
the
be-
70s dancing
Oh, yeah,
with the bun. So I love it.
Yeah.
No, that's a bop, man. That's a bop. I like that one. And the one you played right before we came back in the last segment, it was like it had like a Jesus Walk Kanye West feel to it, and then it dropped into some trap music in the middle of it. I was like,
yeah. That one was called Earth Light It Up. Yeah. Light it
That's
up.
why, and the Earth is getting no, but that's why I have Bubba as our minister of music, and he is helping pick a intro for the show for Like It or Not. So we cut it down to 3, and I've left the 3 up to you. So don't be shy. Just go ahead and drop it. Whatever you do choose.
James,
I'm messing with it.
Why did you laugh so hard? Like I laughed so hard when she called you the minister of music.
The
Because
minister of music.
He's definitely the minister of
I don't
music.
know why that tickled me so hard.
Because y'all know that was in the church when they say the minister of music, the minister of this and that. Everybody, your ministries is different. So
y'all laughing. Y'all know I used to be a minister of music, right?
yeah, you tell us, and you told us how you was about to bag Ty Tribbett's wife.
Whoa! We
still on the public street.
Wait a minute. No.
Ben shared this story on Like It or Not. Though.
No, I never did.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, wait.
Ben, you did though. You did.
Thank you.
Stop.
That's when he was talking about how he was supposed to be the biggest, the next Kirk Franklin. It was just his whole rant that Ben went on.
No,
You did.
I don't know about. See, that was listen. That was caused by post-traumatic COVID syndrome. Like, this has been a hell of a pandemic. That's all I can say.
It has.
But no. Just so the record reflects, this was at least 15 years before I met my wife, and
You said that too.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
You said that part.
You said that too.
And I was at a Bobby Jones. Okay, because I know
the festival. Yeah,
I was at the festival.
You explained it. You cleared it.
Yeah, you definitely broke it down. You said, and then let the record reflect that this was 15 years before. You said that too back then. Yeah. You made sure that all the bases were covered when you were telling the story. But anywho,
hold on, Ben. I'm gonna shoot you some bail real quick, because even though you might have gave all that context when you first said it, there won't no context just now. It was just like, bang, we're gonna throw the big joker down and just get up and walk away. So we got to make sure we provide context at all times.
Listen, and I want to also make it clear on behalf of that sister that she was like, hold up, because her response was literally like, you don't know who I am? And I was like, no, my bad, I don't. She said, that's my husband on stage. And I looked, and it was Ty Tribbett on stage dancing and doing this. I said, my bad. And that was that. I went out about my business.
Okay. Yeah, she was like, check yourself, fool. But that's okay. We win some, we lose some.
But she did recognize me the second time she saw me, though.
You're recognizable. Like, and who doesn't know Ben Dixon? He's winning right now. But they actually have a church. They actually have a church out there in Orlando. My girlfriend goes to their church. It's on the Holy Land. So if you guys are ever in Orlando area, definitely check them out if you go to church. Because Ty Tribbett is a really good. I like his preaching. But
yeah,
and then that same time, I did tell you guys that Ty Tribbett had got me together. Had got my little 17-year-old self together because he was talking about Chris Brown, and I was like, "Oh, Chris Brown," and he was like, "Sis, no, you know what? Come here." And he made me come up to the stage and had this whole, it was terrible. And then in my college though, I ended up actually interviewing him. And he remembered. So, and it was a good interview though. But I guess we'll take it to the after party. What?
We already in the after party. If people can't tell.
Look, we already there?
All right. Rebecca letting the clip go on everybody today. That's what Dwayne said. She ain't got me. I mean, I guess she did call me the minister of music, so I guess
I was ready to jump in there and save Ben. I just didn't have the bars and tone queued up fast enough. I was ready to hit it. I just didn't have it queued up.
Listen, some stories absolutely require context every time you tell them. Okay, so that story requires, and I want to give.
I know this, but it was just a little bit too much at the dinner table, or us having a drink or two at the table. Listen, speaking of,
I do got to say one last thing though before you change the subject. I do got to give this one last caveat. Ty Tribbett, that man is a beast. That second album, Victory, that thing changed my life. So
I got three. I did 3 routines off of that album. I was a minister. I was in the dance ministry. Okay,
the dance ministry, wasn't you?
I was in the dance ministry at the church, y'all. And I kid you not, on that album. I definitely, that album we did, I Got the Victory. We did a few of them songs, and we definitely won. You know, when you go to other churches. That was my
favorite song to mess up on the organ.
And
was
you do the
Victory.
competitions, and we won a few of those. It's crazy because in church, I was the minister. I was in the dance ministry. I wouldn't say the minister of dance because you don't say that for women, I don't think. But I was over the dance ministry as a little thing because you know how church folks do. They're gonna get the youth and be like, God has called you. And they're like, God did not call me to do nothing, but God has called you to go ahead and lead the dance ministry, right? And you about the same age as the rest of the folks you teaching, but they're like, God has called you to do that. And y'all, I danced to Let Me Cater to You.
Wait.
Rebecca.
Wait.
I danced.
Wait, flag on the play.
Destiny's Child, Let Me Cater to You.
You did Michelle part, right? When it's been
mind you, that song. And mind you, we had partner dances too, dudes. Listen to finesse
them, because in my generation of Haitians, when you were first generation American, and our parents didn't speak. My dad spoke English because he's been Haitian since he was 17, but he didn't go to church like that. My mama did. She ain't speak no English. The rest of them ain't speak English either. So now the new generation Haitian kids, all their parents know the culture. They know speak English. Ours didn't. So they put me in charge, and I done did the damn routine, y'all. Let me cater to you. Literally rolling my hips, and I ain't even had none. Okay, rolling my little hips in the people church, and it was all for a day of love, because it was it was for a day of love. Not only did we dance to that, we did a step show. Oh God! And then we did it to the damn You Got Served joint where they was crumping
to pump it up.
Wait. Hang on. So people understand why my face is aghast. This is a praise dance routine Mama. You put together?
This was, and they let me have the they gave it to me. And so
there've been videos. Now there are videos. There are videos of
Jesus. That was Rebecca.
Right. Drop it low for Jesus. Yes, that was the vibe. And I was a kid. I was in high school, but I wanted to.
I want to tell y'all something so bad, but I respect my church too much to tell it. So we're going to really have to do this. Will be told. I'm going to tell the secret about this segment at the patron party, like, because y'all are killing me. Ooh. You did a lap dance at church.
I can't say it was a lap dance for Jesus. We did a partner dance. We said, I want to take my rap. And the guys were behind us. And all we did back in the day, was stupid little arm rolls. But it was the hip movement for me. It was the hip movement when I came in. And I was like, let me cater to you, baby. Because, back in the day, we all thought we was Sierra, so we was all trying to do it. It was a fool. When I think about it, and the Haitian men were enjoying it a little too much. Pervs. I just cannot. Like, wow. I can't believe they let us go through with that. Those are one of the most embarrassing times of my life that I think about, because as a grown woman, I'm like, God.
I just want the audience to know, everyone who is still watching us right now, you're getting the paid content. This is the after party. This is what we do for people who are patrons at patreon.com/LikeItOrNot. This is where Rebecca lets her hair down because James nor I have any left to let down. And okay. And we just kind of kick it, especially with the audience. Wow. I'm not going to go back and beat a dead horse, but they let you finish the routine.
Oh, we went from start to finish. During Christmas, we would do Mariah Carey, of course. All I want for Christmas is you. That one. Not only did we do that one, we did the DC Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, my baby gave to me a pair of Chloe shades and a diamond belly ring. God. And mind you, for both of those songs, those were passed down. There was a generation before me that actually danced to it, right? And they came and taught me the routine. And when they went off to college, I was like, we're going to stick to this. So I got the girls doing it as well. And then I taught the generation after me to do it, but their parents stopped them at the front door. Their parents was like, what is all this?
They was doing all that while the pastor was out on like a mission trip or something.
I'm saying, where was the pastor in all this?
The pastor, he was out preaching at other churches, but when he would come for the Christmas concert, he was always just like, oh Lord. And then for one of them, y'all,
blessed Jesus,
they went shopping for my outfit. And, they gave me these pants. At the time you had the velour suits. Mine had writing on the booty part. I'm thinking about this as we go right now.
At church?
Mine had writing on the boot, but I was a child, so nobody should have been looking at my body like that. I was just a little thin stick. But it had writing on the booty part.
Where was y'all? Where were the mission? See, I come from the Missionary Baptist Church. And in our church, we're not as bad as Church of God in Christ, but in our church, they will definitely come and put a scarf over your legs.
Yeah. Oh no!
Where was the mother of the church?
Get the whole blanket.
It's true. They would definitely. Let when they would definitely like, have the kid, like kids be like, you're touched, and them kids be falling out too. I'm like, you ain't fine. But they'll cover their little legs, or if we're sitting in the front row, and especially with me because I have really, really long legs, they'll always be like covering me up. But when it came to my creative side, they let me do what needed to be done. They never stopped it. And like I said, we went to a Pentecostal church, but we are Haitian. So there are things that we do within our church that Americans are going to look at and be crazy. The type of dance style that we do when we are doing praise and worship, you might see a little bit of hip roll. That's because it's in our culture. Like it's just in our culture to do that. We're not trying to be sexual. It just kind of is. So I don't think our parents, my mom couldn't speak English at the time. So me dancing to these words, she thinks I'm just dancing to a Christmas song, which I was, but it was Destiny's Child. And then there was Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, it was two Mariah Carey songs. It was from the Christmas album, and it was two Destiny's Child songs from the Christmas album. And we did what needed to be done.
I know. I'm thinking right now of, I'm not going to call her whole name, but Sister Hay.
I hate Dwayne.
Sister Hay from Boynton Beach, Florida. There's no way in hell that any child would have got up in somebody's pulpit dancing to some Beyonce, because she would have intercepted them at the pass. Oh, man. But I do love one thing that you said, though. I don't think, I had my homeboy is Jamaican, and I went to so many Jamaican services, and the movement and it's an energy, and you connect with it as a black person. Yeah.
And I won't turn back. Because I want to see my Jesus someday. And then it's like the Caribbean music. I got my mind made up.
That's
and
it.
I won't turn back because I'm going to see my
You got to sing it like
Jesus.
the little girl. Someday.
Oh my God.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
That was so inside.
That with the Jamaicans sitting right. I mean, a Jamaican pastor. The only thing that I think of is praise the Lord right now. You got to do it. Praise the Lord. Oh, I wouldn't be able to sit through it. I'm sorry.
Don't come for our Caribbean churches. Don't come for the West Indian churches. It be true. It's true. But don't come for us. Like my mom, she's praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Gloire à Jésus. Béni soit l'Éternel. Béni soit. That's all of it. Like that. And they just. Yeah.
Nah. I love. Man, I love.
Jesus
I love
love
the
you.
diaspora.
Do you know that Jesus is coming back? Jesus love you so much. Do you know that? Do you know? Okay.
Oh my! Like, can y'all think about the differences in the churches, y'all?
It's very different. And then
but it's still the same though. But there's a rhythm, there's a beat, there is a no matter what church I've been to, I'm trying to be serious here for a hot second. Just give me.
Have you been an interpreter? Because they usually use the interpreters at the church. I don't know about the Jamaican church because they're still speaking English. It's at our church, we would always have an interpreter, and the interpreter would come, and it's funny because they never got they didn't interpret correctly ever. And me being a bilingual child, I would always look and be like, that's not what that man said. They'll be like, the pastor will say, bon Dieu a vini. Si nous pas li Bible, nous pas comprendre le bon Dieu vini. And that's like saying God's going to come. If you don't read your word, you're not going to know when God comes, right? And then for them, they're going to be like, the Lord said you must be in your word. That is not what was said. The white missionaries swear they know Creole. My brothers, James and Jonah, shout out to them. They do a skit online. They're big within the Haitian social media influencer community. And their names is James and Jonas online. Definitely find them, James and Jonas. But they do a skit, and a lot of white people were offended because they'll take white and they'll put it on their face and they'll play as missionaries. And they play as missionaries. And I actually get one of their clips and I'll bring it. I'll get it for you guys. But they'll play as missionaries, as white missionaries, and they'll be speaking with a heavy white accent. And
you can do it.
that, and they'll be like, "Nous pas comprendre ça, bon Dieu, gain pour nous law." Like that's literally how they be talking. And then they'll be like, "Bon Dieu, ramène-nous un pile," and then they'll be like, "That means that the Lord loves you a lot and Haiti," like they'll say stuff like that. But it's funny because while they do that, they actually touch on different situations of white missionaries in Haiti. They'll touch on how they are low-key rapists, right? They'll touch on how how they come to the community and are actually and not all missionaries, right? But the ones that we know will come and make money off of the people and say that they're going to build and don't build anything.
Right.
And that they say that they're under the guise of Christianity, but they're actually don't even care about the religion. They're just there to create a cult. And all that. So my little brothers actually do something like that. So if you guys get a chance, I'll probably look for something of theirs and I'll play it tomorrow. But their names is James and Jonas on Instagram, and you'll see that there's skits as well. James and Jonas on YouTube, Haitian American Productions. So my little brother is Jonas. That's my baby. But yeah, it's a lot.
I needed that.
It's a lot.
I needed
Mara. I can't stay in this chat room. Mara ass talking about hallelujah. No H.
That no H. It's hallelujah. Hallelujah. And
hallelujah.
The Haitian women in church, look, God forgive me, because they say if you always, but they be like, hallelujah, hallelujah. But they're not saying the word. They're just saying hallelujah. And it's high pitch.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's just like, or some people be like, hallelujah, and it's like, hold on. If
you got me thinking about
person watching me say this right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. Why do we have that in every culture? I'm thinking of Sister Beulah. Sister Beulah would stand up, and now she was from the islands too, and she would stand up in the middle of the church and like, "Thank you, Jesus!" And then just like in the middle.
Bruh, that was my grandmother, Lord rest her soul. And my mama, grandmother, but grandma, we'd be in the old church in the country. It's like 10 pews in there, and that's it. Then grandma be rocking. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, Mama, grandma, okay.
Thank you. So when they do that, that's equivalent to the Haitian saying, "Hallelujah." That's the same thing as thank you. They literally do that, and then it's funny because shout out to Emmanuel. His mother, we know her to always wear the pointy bras, and she would always find a corner and point her fingers like this, and while she's in prayer, she'd be like, "Bonjour." And it's like, why she had to do all shout out to Emmanuel, my bad, bro. That's like my cousin, but she would always point at the direction, and she would face herself to the corner of the wall, and she would point, and she would scream like this. And we always knew it was crazy. It was crazy. Shout out to the people who grew up in church, and we knew we wasn't paying attention. Nothing that was happening, how the people was falling out with the Holy Spirit.
Was it the same? Listen,
forgive me. Because,
was it the same in Haiti as it was for us? The hardest part of being in church as a kid was trying not to laugh when everything around you was funny as hell.
And it's crazy because the kids in Haiti they're very mature. At 2 years old, they're having full conversations in Creole, like a grown person. And yeah, they'll laugh, but they knew what was up. It's the discipline in Haiti when you in church is totally different, but it's the same thing. We definitely be like Haitian kids laugh, like in Haitian churches, in Haiti, it's the experience is the same as a kid. But something about them kids in Haiti, those kids are so damn mature, it's ridiculous. Like they are like, they're preaching too at like 3. And it's not baby language. Those kids have full vocabulary, and they'll tell you what Jesus said. Okay, those kids literally be called at 1.5 to preach the word. But shout out to our Kringlish crew, La Jeunesse. If you've ever been to La Jeunesse, you singing all the American songs that we learned and we remix it in Creole. So it could be like a Kirk Franklin song, and we'll remix it to Creole, and we'll be traveling like we was the hottest. We all wear the black unified suits, and then have like the colored button down underneath. Thought we was doing something. Shouts out to the youth from back in the early 2000s, man. Yo,
Rebecca, I want to say something real quick, but then I want you to get the last word on today's episode and close us out, because you said something that really struck my heart just now. You talked about how the young people of Haiti have to, they're having full-grown conversations at 3. And the first thing I thought of was because of the fact that they are a recovering nation, a nation recovering from colonialism. A nation recovering from the earthquake, but not just the earthquake, but the exploitation that came as a result of all the hands that came and snatching and stealing. This is a generation of Haitians that are, and you'll speak to that. But I'm just thinking about like the generations of black people across the globe in general who are growing up with the boot of imperialism and capitalism on their necks, as much as it was on George Floyd. And not to bring down a great moment, but the reality is that this was a heavy day, and we needed the laughter for our souls. But at the end of the day, Haiti is hurting this morning, and we want to leave with the attention on Haiti. And so, Rebecca, I digress.
No, thank you for bringing that up. Actually, I know David's giving us updates as we go, saying that the Haiti's international airport is actually closed after Jovenel Moïse and his wife's assassination. And the country's ambassador to the Dominican Republic said this morning, without providing further details, Smith Augustine told CNN in a WhatsApp message that Toussaint Louverture International Airport in the country's capital, Port-au-Prince, has been closed. So if anybody's looking to travel, I know I've been seeing a lot of people say that they have canceled their trips, rightfully so, because like I said, what you guys are about to see in the next few days is going to be, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. But in this particular instance, Ben, like you said, there are a lot of people who have to grow up because of the imperialism and the capitalism and things like that are, given to these countries that they're framing to be third world. And this is by the people who have their foot on our many countries' necks because of this particular situation. A lot of times Haiti tries to find refuge, not only here in America, but in other countries like Chile. My auntie, who couldn't get her papers here in America, finally gave up and went over to Chile. And while she found love, she says that there's a community that won't be accepted because they are Haitian in Chile. Because they are Haitian. So there's a lot of Haitians out there who may find more stability than they would here in America, and who may find some form of freedom in Chile, but they too have a community that is rejected and treated as if they are third world. Just going to our neighboring island country, which is the Dominican Republic, because the Dominican Republic side chose different. They get to have a little bit more of freedom and protection. And mind you, this is the same exact island, just a wall that separates between it. And they have convinced us to think that we are two different people, yet we are the same. I have family members who are Dominican. I have a father who speaks fluent Spanish, yet they say because he's dark and he's different. We represent ourselves as Haitians and a lot of times in these countries, not only Haiti, you have African countries that deal with the same thing. These kids are forced to grow up so quick. You see kids taking their siblings who are probably just a year younger than them on their backs, going through routes through the woods or the trees or the forest to get to a school that may be in a hut. And that's the only education that they may get. And it's great education too, but when they come to America, they're telling them that doesn't account for anything. Mind you, it's a 2-year-old who knows way more than your 2-year-old does here in America, but they give them no respect because they frame them as poor. They can't afford any education, and the education that they possibly have could never be at the level of Americans. I say all that to say, let's watch the developments in Haiti. Haiti, again, I know you guys are saying, what will thoughts and prayers do? They won't do anything, but me as a Haitian, I'm going to be praying for my folks, my people who are there, my family members who are there, who have to go through all of this. I pray right now that my oldest brother is not in Haiti because he travels there every single week. I've been trying to get in touch with him. So hopefully he can answer me and tell me a little bit about if he's there, what's going on. But I pray that he's not there because I wouldn't want him to be trapped there and not able to get back here to see his kids. So right now, guys, just keep on sending the people of Haiti some good love. If you can, share this stream so that people could really see what's going on. Share this wherever you can. Share this word, share this message, because I want it to be heard from a different perspective and not from the perspective of the people who could possibly be at the hand of what's going on in Haiti.
In the first place.
I love you guys, mean it. And it's, again, free Haiti until we say it backwards, and that's Haiti is free. No matter what happens, I'm always going to stick beside my country no matter what. Yes. Okay? Through thick and thin, that's the blood that I bleed. So I love you guys. Today is Wednesday. And I hope that you guys find something positive to do with your day. My positive thing is me going to take a nap before I start my shift at 11 o'clock. I love y'all though.
Girl, that's 17 minutes, girl. Me too.
That's a good power nap.
That goddamn shift. But,
that's all right. I'm about to go.
DJ
I can't say what I'm going to do. That's all right. Love y'all. Mean it.
I'll meet you there, James.
Bye, guys.
Right. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Love y'all. Mean it, brother and sister. All right, y'all. Thank y'all again so much for tuning in. Y'all know what time it is, so I'm going to give you a bit of light it up before we leave out, y'all. Thank you so much again for tuning in today. You did get the extended public show. So if you want to make sure you get all this dope content and enjoy this, man, make sure that you go to patreon.com/likinganot. Patreon.com/likinganot, man. Become a member. Join today. We will see y'all in the morning. Deuces.
I'm in line with the stars, I'm in sync with the earth. 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'ma ride for the squad, light up tires in the hearse. I've been on a vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind.